Happy face?
So
what do you want?
Was it David
Too
Lee
much
Roth
sugar
would
on
need
those
certain
biscuits.
colors? They would have to pull them out of the bowl like when he was showing David Lee Roth and Van Halen.
Always ask for the green M&Ms.
M&M's, not Skittles, I think. Yeah, you're right. Because they like the food color on their teeth or something?
I believe there was something else.
It means something else.
Oh, I'm naive to that. All right. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Welcome everyone. Town of Hollywood Park's budget workshop tonight here at 6 o'clock, and all council members are present as well as department heads. And I'm excited for that news.
And we are currently streaming, so this thing is on.
And we are currently streaming.
Hello, David.
I hope members of the EDC are watching, because we'll be mentioning them often and hoping for their input and support. And council members are all present, as I stated. I would say, in general, we've got a good story to tell, and where our key revenue, the key levels of revenue that we count on are all positive, and they're showing employees. I think we've got again a good story to tell. I think if we're continuing to be good stewards of our money and apply it wisely, we're in good footing going forward. So, with that said, we can go into the administration department. Janice, take it over. Look at that department.
Here is some copies, because I realized that you probably didn't have copies in your binder. I apologize for that, but I emailed them to you this morning. When you get your copy that's going around, it's for admin, court, and contracts, which are each of my three departments. In your packet, you'll see that Anita sent you the first page where it says page total, and it shows for administration $322,488. And the packet that I sent this morning and I passed around now has $324,000. It's because she adjusted my retirement, so it came up a little bit lower than what I originally had. So what she changed was 510104. Was that it? Yeah, retirement? Yeah. So that changed. That's why my totals are a little bit different. As you can see, I have I went down this year on administration on my cost, approximately $26,387.02. Don't get too excited because I use that money in court, because I have an extra person in court this year, court and building permits. So if you see, I have my people broken down by in salaries at a total of $212,000 this year as opposed to $236,000 last year. I received the FICA, retirement, workman's comp, all of those things from finance. Incentive pay, I went ahead and put down for all of my people. Longevity. I went up about $1,000 on supplies because we're having our paper hit pretty much this year. Although I will say the mayor is negotiating a new printer for us. So it will be going down on that if we can get that printer. So that ought to save us all a little bit of money for the future. Everything went down a lot, pretty much. There's only a few things that I did go up on. I did ask for an increase in software on item 510388 for approximately $300 over last year because I do have to get a new computer in one of our areas because it is down to nothing. Software is for Encode. That went up $300. Office equipment was $3,000, $510,800 because I do need a new computer in my area. It's very nice that I don't have a vehicle to pay this year because the payment Was paid off the lease for that on April, so I won't have to be doing that for next year. So I saved myself $4,400. So now the total for this year that I'm asking for the total budget and admin is $322,488.66. Are there any questions?
I kind of have a problem with the amount of increase for the admin. That's a 15% increase.
The 4,000, you mean? The merit
Going up
increase?
From 36,400 to 42,000 for the administrative assistant, and then I guess plus the merit increase.
Yeah, she's already at 42. Oh no, I'm sorry. She is at 36.4. Yes, I was going to put her to 42.
Okay, that's a 15% increase. So
And we can-
I have a problem with that.
We don't have to do that if you don't feel, yeah. And so, yeah, the reason for that is because she is supervising the 2 new people, plus I am training her on HR.
And then the merit increase, is that spread out? How is that applied?
Well, I wanted to give an increase spread out amongst the city treasurer, the receptionist.
Between, I'm sorry, the city
Treasurer, and the receptionist.
Well, the city treasurer is going to be new, so she's probably going to need it.
Well, I didn't know that at the time.
So maybe we can either, so that would be lower, right? If we're not going to, unless we can talk to the city treasurer and staying
I'd like
with
to
a merit
see,
increase.
I'd like to see that. Oh, I already offered her that.
Thank you.
Okay, well, those are my comments on that.
You know, I think there are $14,300 that are proposed for the server. Is the server, is it still on? No.
Want to take this one?
Here, take this one. I'll turn that one on. I'll get that.
There's, I think, a little over 14,000 being proposed for a server to be paid for by the admin department, and I saw the line item for software.
Actually, the server's not going to be paid for by the admin. It'll come out of government buildings.
Government buildings. Well, okay, I was wanting to seek the help from the EDC for the things that would keep us current and contemporary and a cutting-edge municipality. And there are about $30,000 worth of admin / government and court-related IT expenses that I'm hoping to gain some support from, as well as another 16.9 for the fire department. So I hope to accomplish a lot this Friday in our meeting with Mike and the EDC, but I won't know the outcome of that till the end of the week.
So that would apply to the software?
I want to try to shoehorn having current contemporary software as a way to better promote the city as being a contemporary cutting edge place that's in the know, and there's a lot of IT expenses in this budget, and I think a lot more than we've typically had. But we've got.
Is that what you're talking about?
We're talking about servers for the police department as well as admin, and that handle the encode data, as well as they store all the stuff that the body cameras. And I guess Shad can go into more detail. We have to manage and store a tremendous amount of data now, and to that equipment, the software, the ongoing maintenance of it, as well as the fire departments wish to have headset microphones, and they'll elaborate on that. But there's several facets of technology that I want to, and I can recap at the end if you like. Again, I'm hoping to get some direction on that at the end of the week. But it affects all the departments. I think admin to the tune of about 30, fire department it ends up being at least 16.9, and in the police department at least 9, I think, and yours, Shad, and the $13,000 in court software also. So
what is the total you want to try and get from these?
well, it's 122.9 if you're listening. 122.9, and I think they crossing the different departments, and I was so encouraged when we were able to justify the EDC money for use with our branding and our street signs and the banners and the entrance signs. That's a real change from the original EDC rules that had come out. And the street signs are almost streets, which would be really nice.
I think the EDC is eager to help.
They are.
Just based on what, it all depends on what they can and can't do.
I appreciate their spirit. And
I think from the few members I've talked to, they're eager to help whenever and wherever they can.
I'm really hopeful. And
with regards to the administrative assistant,
Well, I want to say something because I stand corrected. When Anita Ramos left, and I pushed, and I asked her to take the position, she is at 42.
She's at 42 now.
yeah, I was going to ask, do we have a way of finding out if this is if we're not paying enough or
We don't pay as much as most cities because most cities have dedicated people to just do one job.
right?
Our people have to do seven. So
so this is the current rate of pay.
this is the current
42.
rate on the new budget. I'm not changing anything. The only thing I'm changing is asking for $1,000 of overtime as opposed to $3,000 I did last year, and I am asking for.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with an increase as long as it's in line with what they're doing, and I think it's important that we try to maintain and keep people on the payroll.
Well, and I am $23,000 less than last year.
Right.
This new budget. So.
But that's because 31,000 was moved
To court.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, so she's making 42 right now.
Make it 42 right
Okay.
now.
All right.
And the mayor is right. We are going to try to get a new server because I think the chief will agree. Ours is slower than slow right now. I think chief has
How old
a
is it?
really good idea. How old is it? About
It's
Roughly 4.5.
4 or 5.
yeah,
Yeah,
and they're shared servers.
but it's shared between 47 people.
Yeah, and their body.
That's the problem.
All that stuff is being loaded on there, and so it's really.
Yeah, you can definitely tell when there's a lot of people.
Right.
And
Is it all stored on the same server?
there are two servers. There's a. Is that correct, Shad? Is that correct? There are two primary servers. There's not counting the backup. Is there a server?
Okay, so we have one server for the entire city. We have a RMS server for the PD, which is about 12 years old, and then everything funnels through that one server. We bought that. I don't know if you remember. We bought that. Gosh, that's 4 or 5 years ago. It was my first year as chief.
Yeah.
The other one is specifically a police server.
Yeah, it's for the report management system only. That's the only thing that's housed on that server. But we're going to consolidate all that with the purchase of a new server. Okay, Reader's Digest version. The server we have right now, the police and fire would use that moving forward. We would assume that server split the resources off. Janice would be getting a new server for admin, public works, and Encode and all that, court and all that up front. And then you'll see in our packets we're purchasing out of asset money a video server that removes all the body camera, car camera stuff off of that server because that's HD video being uploaded 24/7 via internet, and that is very taxing on your server. So that's the plan. We end up having 3 servers, one being paid out of asset money, and then one, the current one we have, and then one being budgeted by government buildings.
Thank you. We're a little bit out of order, but it all makes sense. It all ties in to technology.
Great question. So storage is absolutely a problem because we're uploading 480p video times 12. So we've put in some extra upgrades in our storage capabilities with this asset purchase. So we're going to be in great shape. What? Yeah,
Yeah.
they
They got hacked.
Yeah.
And
I want to see how much that's going to be.
Well, we're not using the cloud either. We're using on-site storage as well. So
our cloud is right here at 2 Mecca. Things like batteries? It's that bag of batteries.
oh, okay. But the batteries would die. So
What is this?
that's the server still.
Isn't that in here?
Yeah, should be.
That should be in our book. I think I saw that.
It's in the book.
Yeah.
I just thought maybe it's in the
Oh.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be. It's not earth-shattering numbers.
If we need it, we need
I
it.
would say, can we go into court now? I think we should. timing is good. Janice, please.
Okay. This is where another court permit clerk has been added. That way, optimally, there'll be two court clerks, two permit clerks. During court, which we try to keep it down to one court a month, we will be successful in doing that since we have two people now. We'll have one at each window. The goal, long-term goal for court is to have Jessica up here with the judge doing the forms, and doing the plea deals, getting all of that ready, so that way they can take the forms to each window, and we can streamline it. It'll be much faster than it currently is. Having the service going to help tremendously. So what we do right now, and the mayor's notice, we key in the TDL, and then we've got to wait because it's turning. Then we key in the fine, and then we've got to wait. So that service is going to help tremendously to keep those lines, get those lines much, much lower than they currently are.
If any of you are available this Thursday afternoon to come by and just see what transpires on a typical court day. It's a day late because it's the third is the Wednesday is the holiday, but it's an interesting exercise in efficiency because we've still got the customers coming in with all the normal permits and the requests and things and wanting to book the Voight Center. Plus, we've got 100 and something people here pleading for their freedom. And
That's Chad's fault.
you know, I was going to ask Chad a quick question. Do you think with the changes that the STEP program has brought, does it increase the prosecutor's workload more than the judge because of the citation load? Does that make sense? Does that question make
I
sense?
think it's still pretty much the same.
They pretty equal?
Yeah, I think Janice can help me on that, but I don't think so, right? It's kind of half and
because
half.
What happens is the judge will come in and he'll see the people that need to see him because of a show off or what have you. Then once he's finished with the ones he has to see, then he'll start picking everybody else on the prosecutor side so we can get.
He will? Okay. Oh, good. I didn't know
So
if that was.
the two of them doubling up and getting that done.
Okay.
I mean, it's a good thing that the police are doing what they are because, you know, they have the STEP program and it's doubled
Yeah.
the rate of our workload in court. And but that's a great thing because
You can see in the budget, it's.
yeah, and same thing in building permits for whatever reason. We're almost double on building permits than we were last year. So I don't want to have to pay the judge again. I don't want to have to pay the prosecutor again. I don't want to have to pay the bailiffs again to come in for an extra a day that month because that's a extra $3,000 to $4,000 extra a month I don't want to have to do. So and processing the current things that we do for the STEP program, we keep track of that pretty well, both in finance and court area. It's good to have that extra person that can help with that workload.
Oh, yeah.
So, is there very many people that just come in and say, I just want to pay my ticket, or do everybody want to speak to the judge?
Everybody just, well.
They have that liberty, don't
We'll
they?
have people that will say, I just want to pay my ticket. But then when they go up there and they find out what the fine is, they're like, oh, well, can I have a payment plan? And we can't do that as court clerk up at the window. You've got to see the judge or the prosecutor. So, and usually you have people in court. It's a rare thing when you have somebody that just has, that wants to do it
Set an idea
or
fair.
wants to do it deferred. Usually there's 2 or 3 dollars. And so, especially if they have come to court before and they were doing some payment plan and they haven't finished the payment plan, or they haven't done any payments, we get a lot of those on court day. Those are the ones that the judge has to see. So as you can see, my personnel salaries went up, and what really kicked me this year in court was FICA, retirement, group insurance. We don't know what the insurance is going to be, so we averaged that out about 12% increase. Yeah, so that's really kind of kicked it around a little bit or got me on that one. But I mean, supplies all went down on instead of 3,500 last year was 1,500 this year. Same thing, school seminars, software. That's going to be the same this year. I tried to bring miscellaneous down to 225. So total for court is actually $106,639.57, which puts me $29,147 over last year's budget, which is about right because I have a new extra full-time employee. So I was $26,000 down in admin. I'm $29,000 over in court. Still a difference of about $3,000 that I'm on over.
Janice, where is the comp for the judge and the prosecutor?
That's over under contract, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Where I'm
Gotcha.
fixing to go to after
Gotcha.
this.
Okay.
You want to go ahead and go there? Or do you?
I think, no, if anyone has any other questions about court, please ask them now or we'll go on.
Well, you know what? I'm going to say something. While we're on, I got a notice from Aetna today is ridiculous. Aetna went up 83%. 83%. And I sent it over to Wortham and I said, there is no way. She goes, that's ridiculous. We're not going with Aetna. We're shopping from somebody else. She goes, that's just ridiculous. So
We're in the
I
dark.
was shocked. 80, I've never seen that in my lifetime. For a provider went up 83%. So yeah, 15 is what we budgeted for.
That's 50%.
It's alarming.
It's because we have the other employee, we doubled the employee.
That's alarming.
So between court and admin, I went up approximately $3,000 this year. It's not too bad, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm expecting to get a good workload. And not to put any pressure on Chief, but his department has steadily been bringing in more tickets,
Yes.
which is not a bad thing. And so we're gonna be able to,
Shame on you.
not to mention, because I haven't
Shame on you.
discussed it with the chief yet, but.
It's beating.
We're all stealing your thunder.
Well,
I noticed.
majority of it's gonna come through.
That's why they don't want me to go first.
He's on to us now. We were all stealing his thunder. It's not his time to talk yet, but we were all taking credit for it.
Taking credit for all my stuff over here, right? No, it's,
I'm sorry. We're calling your baby pretty. Okay.
And as like you said, under, if you go into contracts, currently we pay the municipal judge $7,800 and we pay the prosecutor $6,000. Now, we're in probably pretty much average with all the other cities that we have. We pay the bailiffs $40 an hour, for, so, you know, they make about $50 per court. So if we can contain that to one court, which I really do believe that we can with our extra, court person, we're gonna be good.
You know, I was hoping to be able to increase the judge and the prosecutorial pay slightly because they've dealt with a very vastly changing workload with us in the last 2 years, and I would hate to lose them. And it's, you know, if it works out that we're able to consider that, even a 4 to 6%.
I tell you, I saved $3,000 in court this year, in contracts this year.
That's great.
So, I mean, and the reason we did that, it wasn't me, of course, but you all picked Tiger Sanitation or Waste Management, that's $92,000 right there that we saved in the state.
You know.
Contracts down?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're talking about the judge and the prosecutor, yeah. And, you know, the prosecutor gets $500 per month and the judge $650 per month. And they're certainly earning it on the single busy day. A lot of the light-type municipalities have more than one court
that
day,
lasted 20 minutes.
and so they'll earn more
I'm
from
taking
them.
25
But
then.
make it if we have room to bump them up a little bit so that we're not surprised with someone choosing to go to represent some other municipality, I would prefer that. And any discussion on that, I was thinking like $75 per month or a difference of $900 per year on the prosecutorial and the judge comp.
Just like to second that, we work very well with both prosecutor and the judge, and just because they're not here doesn't mean we don't call them. Also, we do reach out to them. So,
And that rate includes the call that we make to them all the time,
Right.
because as Shad knows and I know, with a prosecutor, usually you pay them a fee, and then if you're calling them for any type of situation during the month, as far as, you know, other prosecutors want to make a deal, there's things that need to be talked about, there's videos and so forth, there's no extra charge for that, either with the prosecutor or the
yeah,
judge.
it's pretty
That's
cheap.
a flat rate.
Mr.
Pretty
Henry's been very gracious. I've called him pretending to, under the guise of the EDC representation with a question, and he's like, this doesn't count.
Is Ryan our prosecutor?
Yeah, he's our prosecutor as the EDC judge,
So
or
how long has it been
lawyer.
since we've given, since we've increased those? Did we ever increase those?
We did that when Judge Hermser was still alive, about 2 years before.
So that was-
1970,
So Dartmouth, was it Dartmouth?
That's been 3 or 4 years ago.
2015 or
There always
14?
used to be, the Dolly used to be the prosecutor, Judge Hermser was the judge, yeah.
And has he been our judge for 2 years now?
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
It's been 2 years, that's right.
And
Been great.
something to keep in mind.
And we're a court of, we are a court of record, but also we are a paperless court, so it's a little bit more difficult. And so we're one of the few judges and prosecutors that know how to run a paperless court.
Not sure Daryl knows how to do it just yet. He's having a hard time.
He could be hearing this.
It's true. I love him.
The deer attorney, that is budgeted this year.
but you know what we used to have, we had the deer attorney and special attorney under one line item.
Oh, okay.
So we decided to separate it out because it got a little confusing, especially when the billing started coming in, of what was what. So this year we decided to make it very nice and clean.
What does a deer attorney do?
Are we going to,
Represent the deer.
No,
will it be helpful to continue to have the predator element?
Break
I
a
know.
leg crossing the street.
I know this is a stupid question, but what does a deer attorney do?
Yeah, is that, okay. We're doing that again?
That's what we just said.
You guys are all alike.
Okay, there it is, okay. All right.
I have a question. What does a deer attorney do?
Deer attorney represents the deer.
That's four. That's four. 4 out of 4. So seriously, we're paying somebody 40.
Deer court.
42.
He sits for the deer committee, with the deer committee, because it's an open meeting, we're subject to the Open Meetings Act.
Mhm.
So we have an attorney at our monthly meetings.
Is it required that he be there?
it's not required, but I'm gonna tell you it helps because the deer committee does bring up some very legal and interesting things when it comes as far as signage in people's yards, about what they can and can't do.
Trapping?
As far as trapping, and that's a very sensitive subject, and, you know, so he.
They involved at all in the lymph node testing, that part of the thing, the health regulation?
He's not a part of that as far as, you know, the testing and sending all that. Luann and Randy.
The
really
experts
the ones
on
that
that.
handle that more. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah,
Debbie.
that's right.
But I mean, there's a lot of specific issues that we have as far as signage, when and what we can do and what we cannot do. And so he helps tremendously with that. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep
And
it lawsuit.
as far as the new
And he
budget on
defends
it,
the deer.
it's 12,000.
Yeah.
And the current is 5,000 this year, but it's actually usually 6,000 because we overpaid him accidentally last year. So that's why it's reflecting 5,000 for this year. It's typically 6,000. And,
It's
and-
all because of that predator thing.
right, and it's 12 because we wanted to increase it so he could be compensated for the predator control. I want to approve that 12,000, but when it comes down to doing the contract, I want.
And y'all will have that option as the
Yeah,
committee to review
yeah,
that.
and
But that's just
I
for
want
budget
those
purposes.
funds separately, yeah, I do, I think
Yeah.
that's great, yeah, that's in there.
We just wanted to make sure he had his own line item. And of course, everything stayed basically the same except for, you know, waste services, we saved a lot of money on that. Went down on the auditor 1,000 because this is something we sent back to 2065. You know, city attorney, we even went down, 10,000 because 35,000 is what he's basically been, 25,000 is what he's basically been charging us and so forth, so, and it's a flat fee, so, special attorney, everything else stayed about the same. A Bear Appraisal District, we did go up $3,000 because they did have been going a little bit higher and higher, so we want to make sure and cover that cost. The inspector, as far as septic, for whatever reason, we don't have near $6,000 for the past 2 or 3 years, for septic, so I brought it back down to 3,000, which is what he's been averaging for the last few years. And, now the one thing that I have on there that I did not budget for, unless you all wanted me to, is we did budget last year for drug testing for employees. The former mayor wanted us to go ahead and do that. We had a problem finding an entity that would be able to do it 24/7 and frankly, do a random drawing 24/7 for our police officers and firefighters. Because when they come in to work, it's difficult to pull them, especially also if someone happens to be sick or what have you, because sometimes we don't, you know, we have just coverage with those people. So we did find a place that would do that 24/7, but we have not implemented it yet.
So that's strictly for random drug testing?
Random drug testing.
Does that include council members?
Absolutely.
Great.
Most of all. So I didn't know if you all wanted that in there or not. I took it out. If you did, I could definitely put it back in.
Do we drug test when we hire?
Yep.
Well, yeah, you go through,
Background and.
what's the name of that company, VOV or whatever, they have to go and they get the.
Nova.
test, see if they can look at state and all that kind of stuff.
I think-
Well, we have, I don't know about the random, we have a policy for reasonable suspicion. If we have an issue and we think there's an issue, we can call for a drug test. We have accident drug testing, we have pre-screening drug testing, so I'm not so sure that it's really needed. We've not had an issue that we're aware of, but we've not had an issue, and
What's the legality as far as you have a suspicion asking them to go and get drug tested?
Absolutely.
No.
Yeah, we just articulate the suspicion.
No.
I would be against the random aspect of it, having worked for two major corporations that had it. It was ironically random that the same people would get picked month after month, and just people that
Well, that's suspicion. How many times did you have to do it?
it's the psychiatric battery I have trouble with. But no, I mean it was considered a big waste of money because Penelope up in accounting, was just again okay, but I don't think it's all right. I think we'll get more revenue, or we will spend less on the street lights because we've got more of the LED lights out there too, don't we?
Question on Bear Appraisal District. Now, what is that exactly?
It's where they charge us every year.
Oh, that's the contractor.
Yeah, I'm gonna check to make sure. So they charge us every year, and they've been going up.
I just left it this afternoon protesting the energy bills.
Did you?
$4,600.
You did better than I did.
I'm carrying it for
Jeez Louise. Good Lord.
They are so corrupt.
Are you
They are the most,
kidding me?
and I hope this is on.
It is. They did me for 15, but I just bought a house.
Bear County Appraisal is just the most corrupt bunch of. Ugh. That's crazy. I don't go protest. The last time I went protesting was 10 years ago on a house.
Yeah.
They had to escort me out.
So we expect to pay at least 9%.
You pull that Jekyll and Hyde thing you do.
It's just like, I mean, they just basically looked at me and said, "You don't like it? Too bad."
You gotta pay it. Wow.
Yep. My wife fights it, which I think is a waste of time. But what's next?
Sir? I don't think so. I think you've hit them all.
Can we just skip you?
I'm down to nothing here. So,
We just skip you?
yeah, you bet.
Hey, that's all you care about right there.
Damn right.
That's big money.
That's big money. Ah. Oh, jeez. Here we go.
Well, I'm not as paper oriented as Chad, Johnny, and James are, so I just bring them another folders.
Oh, it's cool.
General government, the biggest change I see is the new server, which is under 519.343. And then we don't have the AC that we had on last year.
You don't have the what?
The AC.
AC heater replacement.
Oh.
It was $4,000 budget last year. We don't have that. That's in our favor. I don't have any big projects that I see coming up.
No gates need to be moved, fences, something like that.
Everything's pretty good. I was looking at changing the security system there. I mean, people are talking about changing the security system.
Oh, yeah.
But we're not, I'm not putting that in right now.
Expensive.
Electric gas on Rudamata and Napa. Line 519331.
That is,
You can say they're
where are we talking about? 519,
519-331, electric gas, Rudamata.
Rue D'Amato
storage shed there that has a repeater in it and has a big antenna mast.
But it doesn't serve any purpose.
Not anymore. Not as of this year. It's a VHF radio, and it's all been rebanded by the feds, and they want money to reband our radios, and we're not going to do it. So,
Do you lease it like Sprint or somebody?
I wish. It's old school stuff too. It's been there a long time.
It's towards the bottom on the copier.
Yeah, we have an antenna on top of the bank across the street too, Frost Bank. Yeah, we have got one up there, and then that was a repeater site. But don't need it.
Do you think we're gonna go to drop?
I think about 3,200 from the copier.
Where's that at?
Down to 4,000. 7,200 bucks, put it down to 4,000.
Bring it to 4, it will bring it to 4.
What about the postage meter? Do people still use those?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we send that all day.
Overtown. Use it all the time.
Oh, no.
You know, I seen too, and request for information.
How much did you say that's going up?
Down to 3,200. I mean, how many? 32.
A couple of changes that I brought in was, I increased our supplies, our cleaning supplies and paper supplies. I mean, it's just paper towels, toilet paper, and cleaning supplies, they cost. I brought those at each $75. That would be $519, $220
Is that for here or for all of?
for here.
Okay.
Charlie, so why do we have a bank fee? I would think you
Or
would
the
have.
big- this would be a big stuff.
We kind of, we both work on it, but
Judge, why do we have a bank fee?
Yeah, let me pull that up so we can look at it. Sorry, it's running a little slow. Is that okay?
The access point.
While she's on there, there are multiple IT and software-related expenses I would like, I plan to bring up with EDC as well on Friday. That fall under this heading, between $15,000 and $25,000. And you should get Holly's up with the Christmas party instead of spending $1,000, so she gets some options for this. Like she gets from the agency.
So the other thing that I've increased on this was lights, locks, and air filters. And, got a new heater in, different air filters. And then the lights and locks, I'm actually, believe it or not, slowly, through time, converting the city to LED lights. So, without having to come over to these costs, so, no, all the city building lights will be LEDs.
Can you get a kind of rebate or anything on that from CPS?
Once I get to a certain percentage, then CPS will start giving us a rebate.
Okay.
I don't know what it is yet. And I'm trying to do it instead of just coming in and saying, okay, I'm replacing all the lights and we're going LED.
Right.
As this light goes out, I will convert it. As this light goes out, I will convert it. The costs are a whole lot more easier to swallow that way.
Right.
And in the long run, this will save us
Sure.
substantially in electric costs.
Right.
Did we get the cameras for the fire station? No? Didn't we approve that last year? We asked EDC to do it.
The EDC approved it, but when they came to y'all, you denied it.
Oh, because it was really expensive, that's right, we thought that we could get a better deal. No, we never did.
Nothing personal.
Nothing personal, still love you guys.
We had a really nice system at the store for $11,000. 16 cameras, all HD. Super. I can get on my camera and show it to you right now. It'll be there.
Hook it up.
It should save us. Oh.
Okay, so are we, this is not, this is showing nothing, that we're not putting anything in reserve, the $285,561 for
183.30.
282, 183.
Oh, 890.
Under, capital expense reserve, 100,519,890.
Wait, you say 1,519,890? Okay, because this is showing zero.
Right here. She's looking at the page that's in the general,
And she was in my
Oh.
worksheet.
government.
Oh,
So, okay, so don't look at that page.
right, don't look at
Okay.
that page, she didn't have the reserve, I
Yeah, I
put
didn't
the
have that
reserve
information.
after I entered
Gotcha,
it.
okay.
So I put that in there, and then, circling back to the bank fees, that's where we enter late fees, and that happens very rarely, but that would come up if, for example, we paid when the credit card's late and they charged us late fees, we put that in there. In addition, this year, there were some federal tax deposit penalties, and those were from, taxes that weren't, payroll taxes that weren't paid on time in 2016. And so we received, a penalty fee from them, and we paid it out of that line item.
Okay, so I guess my question is, so why would it have been paid late? Did y'all put something in the system where it didn't happen anymore?
In 2016,
Yeah, I mean,
The person who paid them electronically didn't pay the total amount.
okay, so human error.
It's a shortage.
Okay. Okay, because normally I was thinking, you know, like checking account fees and you can
Right.
find banks that are
No,
free,
no.
okay.
I mean, we can certainly rename it if we had to, but that's the name that I guess they've used throughout. And so that's basically where we would put any late fees. But there are very few in there. It happens very rarely, but it does happen if there's PO missing, or if there's information missing and we can't pay the bill, the actual credit card, because there's information missing.
Okay, then, going forward from this, then when you have your, the council meeting or whatever, I think that should be brought out, that there is a late fee and this is why it was done.
Well, what we're doing in the future now is telling, I was telling, Anita, if she's waiting on a PO to pay a credit card, then I think the department should incur that charge and not be put in bank fees. I think it should go to the supplies for every department. You have to wait on to pay that.
Why would we be waiting on PO?
Yeah, I've never
Because
heard of
she
that.
needs the documentation and everything before she can put the
Is
diary.
there anything charged out? Should we have that already?
We should, but sometimes she doesn't have it.
Yeah, it has to be submitted. And if it's sitting somewhere and it hasn't gotten to admin yet, and this is 30 days. Typically, a lot of them are, some are 10, some are 2 days.
Never heard of that. You ever turn in a PO late?
Well, I understand that, because where my ex-husband works, they're always complaining because the service people don't get the POs there, and then they're paying it late, and they're not getting the discount for paying it early, and so, okay.
And it happens very rarely. I mean, I think it happened, like in November of 2017. You know, it happened November 2017. And then from then on, it was kind of like, okay, guys, where are those POs? And I started hunting them down, both of them were comfortable finding, you know, wherever it was. And it's very rare. The only reason that there's such a large amount in their expense in there right now is because of those 2016.
So you're hoping it doesn't happen, but you have it there for just in case. Okay, perfect, thanks.
There's a spending level also where the mayor has to sign, and it's been helpful here, because if it's over, was it 1,500, apartment, then you sign for it to go to the next step.
It's a thousand.
What do you mean, those chamber memberships? The North Santa Cruz Chamber and the SF Chamber of Commerce, do we,
What number is that?
100-5193.
Report.
Use license memberships.
Not those,
You think it is?
what is the amount?
Probably.
120.
Again, we have more named views from them. Some of the meetings and seminars I've been to, ACOG, and things have been real helpful. And I can't tell you, I haven't been to the chamber ones yet. I've been to a couple of the ACOG ones and the Bear County Community Labor, what is it? Coalition of,
I'll let her Council of Government.
Bear County Coalition of Community, something or other with a C. And,
Yeah, you'll find that the San Antonio Chamber will be able to help you with the business that's offered in Green County.
Yeah,
Very good
that-
at forming a coalition.
I think that's worth it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like a member of the community.
What's the GMBA?
The last one on that.
Oh, that's the one that's 120. I was thinking that's like I say north of both. Why don't we just figure out what it is before we decide?
Greater Northside Business Association?
Okay, and then what's the MCC? Under subscriptions. Hey, Janice. Under subscription.
That's the books that we have there that we look up whenever we can say, is this correct, is this correct? Yes. The books that, those supplements that we get every year.
The MCC is the supplement and then the code book.
And what's the code book?
All the books that are in my office, that are the code compliance books for, the city, that are for, they're all in there. So every year we get supplements throughout the year to take out those supplements.
So the MCC. So the MCC and the code books are two completely different things? And I know what the rack space is, but Webtegrity, what is that? Like security or? Okay.
What's that?
Webtegrity, do you know what that is?
Yes.
That's the code. That's the codes online.
Okay.
You know, the online.
And the rack space is our email service? Okay.
Budget expense. General fees.
We split every year from the budget work. So pay for the skills.
I still want to know what the MCC and the code books is.
Well, let's see. I wonder if that has something to do with the municipal code.
Greater North Business Alliance.
Which does what? Which does what for Hollywood Park?
Well, the former mayor belonged to it. I think he was a committee member on one of the committees.
Okay, do we need to belong to it now?
Well, what it helped back then was, that's one of the starter groups that decided to go to San Antonio and do that, belong to a larger coalition to try to get whatever cities want to use
purchasing.
or anything to do a, I can't think of the name of it. A purchasing agreement, thank you, the Royal Co-op,
Mhm.
that's what that was for, yeah, and that was one of the.
But that's since fallen by the wayside?
Yeah, it's still alive and well, but everybody now is part, or a lot of people are now part of the co-op. I don't know what other, I don't go to the meetings in Marion too, so I don't know what else they've come up with.
So we're keeping that, or?
So are we getting, do we need that, or is it something we have to have, or does it change our world, or?
Too early to tell. I think, Fells was a pioneer in that effort to get the.
Why don't you attend some of these meetings, Mayor, and then if you don't like them, then we just
That's a great
put up a
idea.
subscription, you know? You don't feel like it's.
Or you get rid of it,
So
don't
you
lose
need to
anything
go
at
to,
all.
what is
You have more
Stanco?
time.
That's it.
Stanco's, that
San
sounds like.
Antonio, what is that? That's 1,500.
Okay, here's monitoring antivirus,
Is that our Sam's membership?
integrity, oh, that, she said that was the website, okay.
What's that?
Yeah, that's like our software that Right. they use, yeah.
We'll find out.
A lot of computers in this
Is
building.
that what they're wanting on the EDC to pay for?
And that part I don't know. I didn't, that was the first I heard that. I didn't know they had. Hey, this ICC and codebooks thing, I know you get an update or whatever, and you get an update in paper form, or?
Two things, and I didn't do the codification this year because I don't, it's expensive, and I think we can wait for one more year. We get the update on the new laws that have been coming out, and it's a supplement, and it goes into all the books that I have in there, the food licenses and so forth, health codes, all of that stuff, in addition to, general government. That's one thing. And then we have what we call codification, which is the people that whenever you go to our website and you wanna look up a code, you go in there and it's that search engine.
Mhm.
We usually codify everything that we've passed since the last codification. When I say codification, it means you go into that search engine and you type something up and it automatically pulls up.
Right.
Okay? So I usually keep maybe 2 or 3 years, and then every second or third year, then I do the codification with them, and then that's what happens.
Got it.
Like that right there is,
Okay.
that type of deal is antiquated, and each of the council members used to get one of those every year. Well, that is not antiquated because when you go on the website and you go to the search engine, it's much more up-to-date than that.
Is that something we even have to keep? I mean,
Those
the books?
No, we discontinued the books like 5 or 6 years ago.
So
Okay.
are those the code books here? The
No.
free code books, that's not what that is?
No, that's about in my office, all the food licensing, general government, all of that, those are the supplements for all of that. That come in every month.
It's like the old law books,
Yes,
you know, like
yes.
people used to, you know.
That's what I was asking, is that something they just can send you in a PDF and then you can just do
No,
away with that?
separate, yeah.
BS?
Yeah, because they have a monopoly on that, so they give us the supplement, the only way you can get it.
Oh.
The codification, that's a different company, a different thing, and it deals with your ordinances for your review.
Okay, okay, got it. We're all getting an education here. Mostly me. Yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna hang out with
Maybe
you
you
more.
shouldn't sit by me. Be a bad influence on you.
We'll both be in trouble.
Yeah.
This phone miscellaneous, all the cell phones,
His phone,
$4,000.
no, 960.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wow. Well, the miscellaneous is $4,000.
Mhm.
What might that be?
And that was.
Would that be classes and stuff?
Do you wanna tell them that's for bail?
Yeah, we very well might need it. So,
Contingency fund.
That's what he uses at the doghouse.
Oh, that was for, Mayor's Movie Night, when they had Santa Claus, and they wanted to buy, that was for the movie, because we stopped paying for or the EDC stops paying for the Mayor's Movie Night in October or November, because that's what they budgeted for. But the Hollywood Park, Community Association wanted to have a movie in November, and they wanted to have a movie in December, so the mayor paid for it out of his line item. The licensing for Santa Claus, and something about the elf.
The movies, it's about $700 each month. We share a
Classic.
movie. For the rights to the movie, $700. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
that's for
Yeah,
commercial
that's
use,
to waive
yeah.
liability from being accused of charging anyone to see it.
I thought if I just went to Target and bought the movie, I could show
Well,
it.
that's also,
We
isn't
can't
that
do
also the
that.
cost of the big guy bringing out the screen?
Plus,
No,
it's 400 and something for the movie and another 300 and something for the screen and they provided for it.
And you said the EDC
was paying for it, or they
Yeah,
reached their?
EDC budgets until October. They budget for it.
Oh.
They were not told, hey, you need to budget for it through December. And so at the last minute, the
Usually it's a seasonal.
CCA said, hey,
Right.
can we have a November movie and can we have a December movie? And the mayor said, okay, well, the city will go ahead and pay for it. We'll pay for it out of my line items. And the EDC said, we budgeted already for that, so if y'all want to pay for it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Also 5,000.
Council, let's see what y'all.
Well, that's the 960 and the 4,040. Well, that's an additional 5,000.
Yeah, council got their own line.
I use that for remodeling my office. As you saw.
Yeah, I've seen your office, Murphy. You got hosed.
Well, it's all antiques. He bought antique furniture, so it's
Oh yeah.
expensive,
Oh,
right?
you're right. Stay out of Bernie.
Yeah, that wicker chair.
Stay out of Main Street.
Yeah.
NASCAR mugs on the shelf, come on.
It was a membership, that was a membership for all of the council and the mayor to be able to be a part of ACOG, so that way you could go and do your meetings there. So, yeah,
So was that membership?
for all of you.
Okay, but was it individually?
Yeah, it's for like 5 council members.
Okay.
I like
And so,
ACOG.
with that, you'll be able to go, and sometimes ACOG will have, and they currently have them now, they'll have, something that says, for mayors and how to be a better council member. Yes, this is, yes, exactly. We're having a session on budgeting in small government.
Okay.
And you can take all
Just
of
got
that.
certified.
You have to be a member in order to take it. So
Right.
So am I the only one that hasn't gone to one of these yet?
I would like you to attend the next one. I just got certified with the Public Information Act as well as the Open Meetings Act. It's kind of a refresher course, and it's very
When do we find out, or how are we even notified this month?
I can notify all of them, like, that you have access to ACOG.
It's,
I'll be happy to push
I
it.
just got an agenda for an upcoming meeting with
Mayor.
ACOG in the middle of the month, and I can, ask them.
How many of us can go at one time, just the two?
You can go at any time, and it could be as many as you want, as long as you notify me, and I can post formulas.
Yeah.
Chris, is that what I asked you if I could go to in August? Remember that I had that book you gave me?
Yes, I believe so. That was the
Was the
TML.
price you took?
That was
The TML, right.
That was the TML function, I think. For the new council people.
Mm-hmm. I went to that last year.
Yeah, did you like that?
No, but I mean, it was informative. I mean, it's just, it's just, a lot of it's just a lot of speakers that are blah blah blah. Like, okay, let's move on. They make 2 days. They make it 2 days. It could last like half a day. If you're just going to get educated. They had a lot of speakers like.
We always like that in school.
Yeah, it was. Move on. Hey, I own a business. I can't. I don't have time to sit around and chew the fat.
Yeah.
Now, I think we're at a point where.
What? I get to go?
She's got a question.
And so the copier, for 7,200 is going down 4,000.
It's going to go down to 4,000. It's going to get to 3,200.
You're pretty proud of that, aren't you? Why don't you have that blown up?
Took
I like
time.
it where I
Took
can
time
do
to make that. It's like auto populates and auto calculates and that's formulas. It's scientific, sir.
How come he doesn't get?
Well, that's a whole nother discussion. I don't want to have it on record. Look, I have a bunch of these. See, got a whole table over here.
Where's your revenue?
Got a whole table. He
You
won't
need
let
to
me
figure
have.
out. Hey, you need to figure out an angle to where you can start charging people for
Yeah, he does have a good angle.
fighting fires or something. A charge or something.
That's it. He should make a calendar. That's what I told him.
A calendar?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
oh, yeah.
You should
All
be
right.
Mr. November.
Okay. I just I can't get that image.
Mr. November, right there.
Mr. November.
And you see.
Come on, John. It's okay.
City owns the property there that's on, right? Does the city own the property there, the water tower?
Who am I there? I don't know if it's
No.
on the Souls or the city, I'm not sure.
The one on Rudamont? No, that's Saws. Yeah.
So it's sold when they sold to Bear Met?
Yeah, when we walked the other day, it had property Saws, blah blah blah. So yeah.
Are you still interested in sharing your
if you like. I mean, you could skip me if you like, but I have a lot of paper over here I printed out. I'd like to share it with you.
Boy, you had to get your own table.
Prepare for that lady over there. So. Okay.
No.
Negative. Negative. All right, line one. Do we want to go like every single line? Are y'all feeling?
Can you skip?
feeling, Randy?
Can you go like every 10th line?
I can. 8 minutes. I'm on the clock. All right. Okay. Salaries. The last couple of years, council has approved. What we do is just a set amount. I think we're doing $23,000 this year, and that's what we've done in the past. I did include this year a breakdown of how we do our merit in the police department. That is based on employee evaluations. So we do annual evaluations. So, just like any other business, we have officers that go above and beyond, and we have some that meets the needs, and we have some that we got to step up their game a little bit. So merit raises are in there appropriately to their evaluations. Thank you, Mayor, for talking to me today. He actually proposed a little merit increase for myself as well. So hopefully the council feels like that's deserving, and I'd appreciate that consideration. So that line went up 3%. Skipping down to uniforms. So we went down just a little bit. In that line item, we buy ballistic vests for the officers out of that line. This year or next year, we don't have to buy anybody a vest, so that went down just a little bit. And just for the new members, we do get reimbursed for half that cost on vests that we buy in the form of a grant. So we submit those receipts every year, and then we get half of that back. So we're buying a vest now that costs between $400 and $600, and then we'll get half of that back in the middle of the year. So that's a pretty good deal for us.
Chad, is
Yep.
that grant that could be also used by fire, or is it strictly for police?
I believe. I don't know.
The vest grant?
Yeah, is it?
We have used that in the past
Okay.
for the fire marshal's office.
Thank you.
Yep, good.
Sorry, continue.
No wonder. Incentive pay, that went up just a little bit. Some of that is some of our new officers they came to us with, like, one of them has a bachelor's degree. The city offers some incentive pay for that. Some other various certifications, so that went up a little. That's a great thing for us. That means they're educated and highly trained, so don't mind that going up just a little. Our longevity actually stayed the same. We had 2 officers. One of them had some seniority that left, and I got rookies that came in, so it just balanced out that way. Skipping all the way down, I'm going to skip everything down to dues, license, and membership, which is line 351, unless anyone has any questions about repair, fuel, any of that stuff.
I have a question about the firearms. Last year you had the new firearms?
We did.
How'd that work?
Wonderful. Worked out wonderful.
Stuff, y'all turned all that in and all that?
That's going to happen this week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they gave us time to qualify, which we had to do, buy new ammo. I mean, it's a bit of a process, but yeah, worked out really well. Thank you. So down to dues, license, and membership. So the reason this went up, we've got some software embedded in this line. So I'm going to skip down, if it's okay, down to 820, other machinery and equipment, and knock that out, and that'll tie that line in with you. So we're wanting to replace our body cameras. This is our current body camera. It's show and tell. This is our current body camera. We bought these roughly 3 years ago, and it's a third-party vendor body camera. We only bought 6 of these because we weren't sure that was a new program at the time, so we weren't sure we were going to do it or not. So we bought these just as a test to see if we would like the body camera program. We absolutely love the body cameras. It's great for court. Whenever there's an issue in court, we can bring up that footage. It also helps officers if there's a complaint. So these are awesome tools for us. So we'd like to replace these. These right now, the batteries they don't last but about 2 hours now. And the batteries are internal. You got to send them to the factory to get replaced, and the batteries cost almost as much as the camera. So we want to go to a better quality product. In order to do that, we got to change vendors. So I talked to the Chiefs Association here in Bexar County, which I'm a member of, and we've got a vendor that everybody's pretty much agreed that that's the company to use. So that's what we're going to do. So that's what part of that licensing stuff is. Having said that, Janice, on the agenda, did we put the item for consideration of vote, the seizure thing? Okay, perfect. So you have a memo in there that is to purchase a video server and body cameras from the Asset Seizure Fund. I believe it was a little over $12,000. So we're not going to use tax dollars. We're not going to budget for that. We're going to go ahead and pay for that out of seizure money, pending your approval, and then that will lead me into the second half of that. So with your blessing, Mayor, could you hit the vote button for body camera asset seizure? I'll give you the exact wording if somebody wants to do a motion.
We're doing that for, council, correct?
Can we do it here?
No, it has to be posted in order, you have to do it in the council session.
Okay, so we can wait. So I need to wait for the council session?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd like you to get with me and to pool this data between the dues licenses and memberships and the other equipment supplies, so we can combine all of the cameras and the software and the server and all the things I want to
Perfect.
see this Friday.
Okay, so our software is about $3,300, give or take, so we can add that to your pool if you like.
Yeah, whatever wasn't part of the asset forfeiture.
Okay, wonderful. So we'll present this at the next council meeting for the body cameras and so forth. Perfect. So on that same note, just keep that in your head, our in-car systems. So about every 3 to 5 years, you want to start replacing those electronics in the patrol cars. That's your camera systems, that's the laptops, all those things need to start thinking about replacing them. And you don't want to do it all at once because that's expensive. So we're going to start this year with this company. It's called WatchGuard. Start replacing the in-car camera system, which is state required. You have to have it. You have to have one. So I put in one camera system for a car in this budget. I don't want to put the old cameras into a new car because they're done. This is the maintenance file for the current camera system. It's a nightmare. It is a nightmare. Yes, sir. So I have a log that I keep repair issues in case there's ever a question about why we don't have a video, and so that's why I have this log in this list. But I'm telling you, we're having to take them out of the car, which is a lot of work, send them back to the vendor, getting them back, and I've done that just on this list alone. Looks like about half a dozen times. So it's just we need to move on from
And
this
it's
company.
expensive too,
It's
right?
very expensive.
They're older and they're breaking now.
Absolutely. The company we want to go with is called WatchGuard. That's what the state troopers are using, DPS is using, a lot of police departments in this area are using. The company we're getting away from is called Coban. And folks are getting away from that brand and moving into this WatchGuard or Taser brand. So we like the WatchGuard. So one system is in our budget. I put the software in one car system in our budget, and I put everything else, the server, the body cameras, everything else is in the asset forfeiture request. So when you combine all that, it's about $27,000, but we're only putting about $11,000 in the budget. We're able to cover the rest of the cost with asset seizure. And that would be even better. So we put a vehicle in this budget. So let me tell you about the vehicle issue that we're facing. So we have 5 vehicles available for patrol. One of those vehicles is a truck. It's an F-150. We bought it in 2015 because we needed something for animal control. What we have found is the turn radius, the V6 engine, and short patrol officers is not conducive to patrol. My car is a 2010 Crown Vic with 120,000 miles. So I can take over the truck as a newer vehicle. It has about 40,000 miles. As a chief vehicle, we can buy a patrol car for patrol, and that would give them actually 5 functional cars. So that's 5 cars for 14 people. So we're trying not to hot seat a car if we don't have to, but normally we have to. That's just the way it goes. So I do, if you need to see it, I have all the mileages and the average miles and everything here for you if you need it. We're putting about 25 to 30,000 a year on each car. That's what we're averaging. So if you, like the car we got last year, we actually physically didn't get it in our hands until last month. So that's how long it takes to get it. So when you say yes.
Why so long?
Well, they get ordered from the factory, they get painted, they get equipped, they get decaled, tested, then delivered, and it just takes that long.
We have brand new Tahoe, or relatively new Tahoe, got in an accident last week, and it's going to be in the shop for a month.
So we're down. So there's always an issue where a car is either down or inoperable or the camera system's not working. There's never really a time when I have all my cars available. So now imagine you have 3 cars and 14 people. Those cars don't get turned off. They just keep running and running and running. So this will at least give me a little more fleet available. And then you throw in step. Throw in the step officer. There's times we've turned step people away because we just don't have a car. So, to do it right, we would need more than 5, but we can make it work with 5 if that's what we can do. So I would take over the truck. We'll get rid of the Crown Vic, the black Crown Vic, thank goodness, and get a patrol vehicle for patrol.
So when you know what the stuff is he's talking about? Is that where you have the overtime policeman?
Yes, ma'am. That is correct. They come in and do traffic. Yeah. Yes. So that's where we're at with our vehicle situation. So we put a vehicle with equipment with the new camera system in the new vehicle, and then we'll start that recycle process. 2010.
Well, I do have one other question, but it goes back to your equipment where you have the large maintenance file. How much is it costing you a year for all your maintenance? Is it on here?
Roughly $7,500 is about what we're paying right now.
And it's costing you $11,000, did you say, for the new equipment for one car?
Yep.
How often is the STEP program running? Doing it 7 days, 6 days?
It's available 7 days a week during the daylight hours, but it's been a little sporadic because of vehicle issues, officer issues, just availability. There's all kinds of things. But
That means you have to have a vehicle for STEP that has to have a full camera system.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Now on the STEP program, just so you're aware, we did put the overtime in the budget, left it there. So we've spent about 11,700. Is that about right, Ms. Janet? Okay. So we've spent about 11,700. The revenue after everything is said and done, in other words, we've sent the money to the state, we've done everything. The net that we've kept after spending 11,000 is 27,000. So it's paying for itself plus another 25, 50%.
Is the STEP program on the same salary per officer?
They get overtime to come in.
They get overtime.
And the reason is for that is because it's too hard, right? It's too hard to figure out that pay at the end of the 2 weeks. So we got with our HR attorney. He says you have to pay them at overtime or better to ensure that we're meeting the guidelines. So we just decided whatever your overtime rate is, that's what you get. So, but we're making money on it. So we're on the win on that. So
So the police department makes money.
the city,
Well, the city makes money, not.
yeah,
the
we don't get
department.
yeah.
Separate, correct? We're keeping the STEP overtime separate from other police overtime so we can track it and make
Yeah.
sure that the net revenue is.
Yeah, we just want to make sure it's at least covering its costs as best as possible, and it's a lot cheaper than adding people. We can just get people to come in. That gives us an extra officer on the street as well, so visibility is great. We just got to get our fleet up to standard.
Well, that's
Yes,
what I
ma'am.
asked you. So the money that you're making off the profit that you're making off the STEP program, does that just go in the general fund for
Yes,
the
ma'am.
city and everything?
Yes, ma'am. Yep. Yeah, we don't get to keep it, but we do. This is where we get to share it right here. We get to ask for some of that back, so that's what we like to do. The last thing we'll add, and I know Chief Patrico will probably have to do this as well with you. So Bexar County radio system and San Antonio radio system, they've created a new system that we have to get on. We don't have a choice, so it's part of this. It's called a P25 compliance. It means we all have to be able to talk to each other, so you have to have a special radio to do it and a special system to do it. It's the law. We have to change some radios, our handheld radios.
Is this a better one than the last one they tried?
Oh, it's amazing radio. I'll be honest. This is an old radio. Okay, so you can see this is the one that we have to do away with, and I have 7 of these. So we've got a couple years to do this. So I only budgeted for 4 of these this year. I do have a credit with a company that sells these for one of those radios. So our cost is about $10,000. Yeah, and they're expensive.
10,000 each?
No, that's total. That's total. So these radios will no longer be operating on that system. So we've got to get rid of them. They're under I believe they're under other machinery and
Are there
equipment.
any subsidies for things like this?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry?
Are there any subsidies for things like this from the state or anybody, or is that just?
Not really. Not really. It's just one of
You
those
bleed them
operational
dry,
things.
Murphy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the only reason I ask is if they're saying you have to be on it, then
I'm sorry, what happens to the old radios?
Well, they just will no longer function on the system. So
Are you able to turn them in, get credit for them?
not
sell
one,
them or anything?
not ones that are this old. We're not able to. Yeah, yeah, they've been around a long time. So probably not. We certainly will look. We'll absolutely can see if anybody needs them, but they won't be worth much. So I'll get 4. I'll get 4 this year, and then we'll ask for a few more next year and round it off. We may can use some asset money later next year as well. So we'll figure out the best way to do that.
Is everyone supposed to carry one of
Yes, every officer gets assigned one. Yeah. So, and then also,
Custody, and when they change their shift, they hand it off to the next guy, and it's
no, because what happens is these radios are tied to the officer. So if you ever have to hit the emergency button on the top, they know who needs help. So they're assigned to each officer. Yeah, it's called an alias.
So how do the other ones get by if we don't have one?
Well, we have them now. They're just after about a year and a half, they're going to be obsolete. So we got to replace the ones we have now. Does that make sense? Did I say that right?
6 years at least. Probably the-
Yeah. Yeah, and the fire department has to do the same. So.
Actually, the ones that we got a few years ago, these are P25 compliant.
We think.
No, they're P25 compliant. We shouldn't have to get any new radios.
May have to do some programming.
Until they change. Yeah, we'll have to get in a program with that.
MC radio.
But,
So you can see the difference, just big difference between the two.
But we got a letter a couple of years ago saying that this was coming down the pike. So I've got 13 of these old radios in his shed right now because I got rid of them. No, those are newer style radios. They actually have a newer style than this one now, but these will work on the system.
So we bought
we're
those.
told.
Yeah.
That's what we're being told, that these are capable of working on the system. So I'm hoping that in the next year and a half, I will not have to buy any more radios, that these will continue to work.
Yeah, we bought 7 of those, and then we bought programming because we thought our radios were going to be reprogrammed to be able to use. That's why we have that credit, because that was for a program that goes inside here. And then they came back and said, no, it's not going to work on the new system. So that,
Not for these radios.
Right.
But it's supposed to on these.
so I have 7 of those, and then eventually I'm going to need 7 new ones. So that's where we're at in the PD. So we're going to be good until budget time. Buy those. Budget time next year. Buy those. That should be enough time to get it done. So I just didn't want to hit you guys all at once with something like that.
Well, I know I'm the rookie of the group, but I see that if you have the program that you're making money and you have the asset, where you're getting to keep the bad guy stuff, it seems like that would be a plus just to use that for your department, because technically it's not costing the city.
Right.
Because if you didn't have those programs, we wouldn't be making the money anyway.
Right.
And you might be able to get some type of a discount buying a bulk instead of 2 or 3 here, 2 or 3 there.
Yeah.
And I know mine's a maroon car, if y'all know.
Can you use asset money for that?
We could. Yep, I don't quite have enough after doing the body camera project to fund the others, but we can look at that as money comes in this coming year. We can look at the asset, because I think it would be probably about another 13 to 17,000 to finish out the project completely on top of the 10. So you're looking at about 25 to 28,000 commitment right now for the radios. That's what it costs total.
When you've made 27, didn't you say a profit from
We did.
the overtime ticket?
Longevity on those new radios?
Oh, you've had these for, gosh, I don't know, probably 8 years. And had they not gone out of, we would have had them longer. So probably
They're still working, they just won't work with.
they won't work with the new system. So
And then in 5 years, the Bear County says, oh, we're going to change our system
it could.
again.
Could.
I would applaud Jen.
And that could happen.
Approach
Oh,
it,
yeah.
not spend it all in 1 year, because the STEP program is dependent upon all the municipalities to be playing along and not abusing the privilege to write tickets on the access roads and the freeways if they get the feeling that we're not helping their law enforcement efforts and we're competing with or cannibalizing it. They can stop the program at any time. Who's they? The Bear County or the city of San Antonio.
It's San Antonio.
COSA, and so it's Cheryl Skilly and the council for San Antonio that can decide to pull that program. And it's an important self-sustaining revenue generating facet of the court revenue, but it's subject to their whims.
So you got to be careful not make too much money because they'll look at it and go,
Yeah, it's-
maybe we should take this back.
Yeah.
It's no names, but Hill Country Village is kind of, I think they may be testing the limits with the bidders exit
Yeah.
on 281 north for people heading south. They're just camping right there.
Yeah, Yeah, we have internal practices that helps us control what we're doing as far as our traffic enforcement, but that is a good point that we do rely on that agreement that we've signed with them to be able to, the contiguous border in order to do that. And so, yeah, that could go away at some point. I don't think it will, but they certainly could get a lot of complaints, right, and just decide they're not going to play anymore. And that would certainly affect that quite a bit. But right now, we're in great shape.
Does roads fall under city center?
They do.
Yeah, all frontage roads.
They do.
But this agreement allows us to ticket, within 500 feet?
It's 200 yards. 200 yards, and we're able to file those citations in our municipal court. That's the key. Before we could do it, we had to file it with the JP court, and we saw no revenue. This allows us to do that and gain revenue from it. So it's a good deal right now.
Hey, Chad,
Yes, ma'am?
I have one question.
Please.
I think, on the longevity chart,
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's a typo.
Could be.
The fiscal start year is 10/1/2019.
Oh, right, yeah.
I was wondering, did that it says auto-calculate, did it auto-calculate correctly? Or was it based on 2019 instead of 18?
Page are you looking at?
It doesn't have the page number.
Oh, I'm with you. Yeah, it looks like this. I'll check it, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty accurate. But
Okay.
I'll check it for you. But absolutely,
Okay.
yeah, it does auto calculate. But basically, when you put that 2019, it jumps 1 year for you in the. I don't know. The 19. It just when I put that in there, it jumped 1 year and added it for me correctly. So
Okay.
we're good. But I'll check it just to make
Okay.
sure. I believe that's my spiel, unless anybody has any more questions.
Have you ever thought of doing a 10-game class for residents in Hollywood Park? I don't know how popular that would be, or
What did you ask for? What kind of class?
Like a CHO type class?
Hasn't someone done that down there?
Yeah, we've had one of our part-time guys who now works with John that teaches it for a living, and he did it for us one time. I guess it's just a matter of does the city want to incur the expense of putting it on and then collect the revenue, or do we want to do it as a courtesy? We just have to figure out what the dynamics are with that. But I mean, yeah, absolutely. We're always looking for ways to be able to interact with the community, so I don't think it's a bad idea by no means. More handguns? That's a loaded question.
That's a loaded answer. Loaded topic.
someone on that neighborhood email was trying to push the active shooter.
I've gotten a lot of requests for that, and we've contacted Bear County, and we're in the process of scheduling that, and they have gotten lots of requests for it. So we're gonna get it done. It's just not gonna be as quick as I like, but yeah, we're gonna get that done.
Here's Johnny.
All right.
Oh, I gotta wake up now.
More skills. Okay, so the first line item where there's a change is going to be under salaries. It's gone to 59, up 59,409. What I have in salaries is 3 merit increases for one of my lieutenants and 2 of the engineers. They're roughly $2,400 a piece per year. That's a 5% increase. That's going to be a total of $7,280 for those 3 merit increases. And then I'm looking to add a captain position to my ranks. I'd like to promote Tim Zelnak, Lieutenant Zelnak, up to captain. Basically, he's my fire inspector. He does all the fire inspections here in Hollywood Park. And thanks, Chad. And so when we've gone to the 4896 schedule, it's become really difficult for Tim to keep up with all the inspections. There are times that he's not here for 2 weeks because his 2 days might fall on a weekend, a Saturday and Sunday, and we don't do inspections on the weekends, and most C of O's, and they just don't happen on the weekend either because they're not out there building, and there's nobody for them to come in and get a C of O from. So it's become an issue to where he's not around as much as he was to do that. So That's one of the reasons why I'd like to get him in Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and he would go to a salaried position. And then another thing, because we're short-staffed, with him being here during the day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, if somebody does take off and we can't get coverage, he'll be able to cover for them, and that would help out with having the coverage and possibly cut down a little bit on the overtime. So that's where I'm at with that.
But doesn't that leave us a man down?
Well, I would have to promote an engineer up to lieutenant, a firefighter up to engineer, and fill the firefighter spot. So I'm creating a position, basically.
Creating a position, okay.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And what does Tim make right now?
Hang on.
Belknap?
Yes.
49.
So we'd be bringing in someone like at the lower rate though.
Yeah, so an engineer would bump up to lieutenant, and he would make lieutenant's base pay. A firefighter would jump to engineer and start making a engineer base pay, and then we would bring a firefighter in at a base pay for a firefighter.
What is the base pay for a firefighter?
Stand by, and I will tell you.
And that 9.66% increase includes everything you're talking about?
Correct.
The overall change.
That's correct. Yeah. So base pay for firefighter is $13.63 an hour, and Tim is currently, his base pay is $52,529. He roughly, with his scheduled overtime, is making $57,103.
You said Zelnap, right?
Correct, sir.
Here's 49 and 749. Base pay. How's the schedule working out? You know, we changed that last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I was probably going to bring it to council in a couple of months. I'm not going to be here this month in July for the council meeting, but just so y'all know, the guys love it. There hasn't been one complaint, so if I came to y'all and took it away, I think they'd hang me.
Were you surprised by that, the way that worked out?
Actually, I was not surprised. I knew that there was one person who really wasn't sure that he wanted to do it, and he didn't think it would work for him. But after going to it, I think he's realized that it is working okay.
No coverage issues or anything like that?
No. If somebody calls in sick, it's been hard to get coverage because it's a last-minute thing. But I also had that issue with the last schedule we were on. So that's always going to be an issue. But as far as people taking overtime and covering, hadn't had any problems. I mean, the guys really like it. I haven't run into any administrative issues with it, which is why I was reluctant to move to it. Wasn't quite ready to go to it at the time we did, just because I didn't have the information I needed. But it's been working out good. I have no issues with it. We went to a 48-96 schedule from 24-48. So now the guys come and they work 48 hours straight, and they're off 96 hours. And there's a lot of departments going to it. Haven't really seen any large departments go to it. I think it has to do with the fact, like San Antonio, half their stations, the guys are running 24/7. The other half, they're not doing anything, like a retirement station. So the guys that run 24/7, and especially EMS, they don't really want them there for 48 hours without any sleep. Where at least my guys, most of the time, they get to sleep at night. Not always that lucky. But.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Everybody sleeps.
That's that big bar in front of Rucky's house.
That's not a live policeman. It's not?
Yeah, why don't you take the old...
She's in the bathroom every once in a while. It's good.
Might be an upgrade on mine.
Suited up. I think.
Okay, the next big change is under 522-112, which is overtime comp, and I've taken $28,000 off the overtime comp. So basically, what I've done, obviously, when we went to this schedule last year, I'd asked for 3 extra guys, but we decided to do overtime to keep 4 men on per shift. So I wasn't really sure how that was going to work out with overtime and how much we were going to need, and I way overshot it. So looking at Encode and what we've been spending each month, we've averaged about $6,300 a month in overtime. So I think $75,000 is a good number to cover it. Now, $45,000 of that is the scheduled overtime, and scheduled overtime is anything for the fire department over 106 hours in a pay period is overtime. But the way these guys work, they automatically get over 106 hours for 2 pay periods, and then their third pay period they work, they have like 96 hours, and then the next pay period back up to over 106 hours. So there is overtime that they're guaranteed they're going to get. So we call it scheduled overtime and unscheduled overtime. So the scheduled overtime, the guaranteed overtime for a year is $45,000. So $30,000 more is what we're looking at for the unscheduled overtime. So I was able to drop it from $103,000 down to $75,000, and we should be good next year with that.
If you hire the additional person, will that drop the overtime even more?
Yeah, if we had 5 people per shift, if someone took off, I wouldn't even bring anybody in to cover. We would go to a minimum of 4. So the whole idea was to keep a minimum of 4 firefighters here at all times, so we could staff the truck with 4 guys. But last year, to bring on 3 extra guys, we were looking at about $130,000, where with the overtime, we added $60,000. So a little less than half of the 130, we were able to just pay our guys overtime and have the 4 guys here per shift.
So it costs less just to pay the overtime.
Yes.
And they don't mind doing the overtime.
They don't. They really like doing the overtime. So, yeah, they enjoy making the extra money. And I do have some part-timers. They're not always available to work, but on occasion they'll sign up for a shift and we'll bring a part-timer in, so we're not paying overtime at that
Johnny, you
point.
say you have 2 part-timers currently?
I'm sorry?
2 part-timers currently?
No, I've got 2 part-timers that are pretty active,
Okay.
or 3 really that work when they'll sign up here and there. I've got a couple that hadn't signed up in a long time, and I'm probably going to end up getting rid of those.
I didn't realize until we spoke that the complication of the part-timers available to fill in is that each firefighter has to have tailor-made equipment and suit, and it's like $5,000 worth of gear, and so that doesn't open itself to a big pool of potential spot schedule fillers.
Well, that, and we're also limited to the number of employees, and we're trying to keep employees under 50 here in the city. For I couldn't explain the reason why. I know Janice could, but
All the rules change at 50. Is it
Yeah,
above
there's-
50? It's over 50, but you can even be at 50.
yeah, there's a lot of changes that
So when
happen.
you say part-time, do you mean volunteers?
No, ma'am. And what I mean is somebody that would come in and work for the rate of a firefighter at $13.63 an hour, we'd pay him for 24 hours, and that's yeah, like a substitute teacher, sure.
Making all the benefits and the.
Yeah, they don't get benefits or anything. They come in and work, and we pay them for however many hours they're here. That's all we do for them.
Employee, so they're almost.
They're a part-time employee. They're not 1099. No, they're part-time employee. They have taxes taken out.
Right.
What's the reason for them doing that? For volunteering elsewhere or what?
They're firefighters elsewhere.
But they're not full-time now.
They're full-time somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
They're just working here to supplement their income somewhere else.
The 4 days off that they might have.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of a rule or that governs the amount of time they can be on the clock? Let's say if they're working for City of San Antonio and they come here and
Nope,
they're working another 20, 30 hours a week?
no rule.
No rule.
No.
Wow. That's surprising.
I've got guys that work here. They'll go work at Barrel Verde and go work at Spring Branch, and they work here. Now, most of the guys aren't working every day because it wears on you. But yeah, there's no rule that says you can only work as a firefighter so many hours.
Firefighters, you're operating heavy equipment.
Yeah. Not like a truck driver where they limit the amount of time you can drive. Yeah, there's nothing like that.
We have a policy where we limit it. In PD, we require 8 hours in between whatever you're working. So our guys work those extra duty jobs, and we have to have 8 hours in between. Because they would get benefits. So we have to make them.
Because they don't sleep.
I wouldn't say that. That's what I just said.
Come on,
I was thinking that.
the other end of the table.
Alright, moving on.
Okay, under that, we have incentive pay and longevity. Those all went up for obvious reasons. Guys got more certifications and have guys that are here longer. Okay, under supplies, 522220, I took that up $1,000. I'm looking at getting some new EMS bags, trying to make all the trucks uniform with the same bags, and looking at getting some 1 3/4 hose for the engine.
And that's all included in that.
That's all.
$1,000.
Yeah, that's all included.
EDC.
They're gonna hate you.
Meeting Friday. I'm not finished.
Do I need to get on the EDC just to make sure that this flows?
A council member, there's no council member on there, right?
No.
You do need to get on there.
Be awesome.
On your line 228.
Well, you stuck your foot in that one, didn't you?
Thank you, Scott.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Your nomination. I have a separate request. Thank you.
522.228, the repair. So did you get your ladder truck fixed?
No. Yeah, we're not going to.
EDC.
Okay, so 522338, we'll look at repair maintenance vehicle. Now, along with that, if you would also look at the item below that, 340, which is fuel, oil, and lube, you'll see that I dropped that 3,000. So here's what happened. I want to start a preventive maintenance program on our trucks, to where every 6 months they go in, they get the once over, they get an oil change. Right now, all we were doing is taking them in for an oil change, and they would just kind of look to see if anything was leaking. They didn't give it a good once over on there. They didn't change any of the pump packing on the pump or anything of that nature. So I'm looking at a preventive maintenance program to try and cut down on me having vehicles in the shop all the time. I'm hoping it would help out. So since the preventive maintenance includes the fuel, oil, and lube every 6 months, I'm pulling money out of fuel, oil, and lube and moving it into repair maintenance vehicles, since it will be included in the preventative maintenance. So if I didn't do that, I would be budgeting twice for an oil change. That would be unnecessary. So the 5,000 basically is just for fuel.
I'm excited within your budget lines. There are several categories that are approvable EDC, fundable items. I'm not sure about the EMS
So
bags.
what you're telling me is just go to the EDC meeting? I'm done here.
We all go to the Voice Center Friday at 1 o'clock. But the things like IT equipment and stuff, I don't know about the EMS bags. These are bags with equipment in them. The EMS bags, can you describe that in a little more detail?
It's a bag that EMS supplies go in.
And a first aid kit would be to
A glorified first aid kit, correct.
Yeah, with paddles.
It's so our bags, we've got some pretty good size duffel bags, and it'll have a compartment for the O2 bottle. It'll have other compartments where we could put our airway management and our O2 masks and bandaging and splinting.
Okay.
So yeah, that's basically what those are. You say bag, how many are you thinking? Basically, I'm looking at one for each truck. So, and they'd all be the exact same bag. We've got
What's the cost of the bags?
a couple of bags. They're about $250 a piece. Actually, the ones I found at $250 a piece, they no longer make. So I'm gonna have to find something else. We finally got everybody to agree on one type of bag, and they don't sell them anymore. So I got to do a little more research and find some bags. But I was just gonna keep it at budget at $250 apiece because I know it's gonna cost at least that much.
And that's an element of the $12,000 line item, I think. Is that right?
Under supplies,
Yeah, gotcha.
Yep.
Thank you.
Prior to my remodeling, how many miles do you usually put on your truck every year?
So the fire trucks, like the engine, it doesn't get many miles put on it. You know, we might put a couple of thousand miles on it a year, but it's the hours that really wear on it. When we go to a fire or EMS call, for that matter, the truck's running. We don't turn the truck off, so we'll be on scene for anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour on an EMS call, and the truck's just sitting outside running. So we'll get an hour's worth of time on it there. And if we go to a fire, it's going to run for probably 4 to 6 hours just sitting on the side of the road idling.
So it's not like a car where every 50,000 or every 5,000 miles you do the oil and all that.
Right.
You do it, go back.
Yeah, and on these trucks, we try and change the oil twice a year. Every 6 months, we change the oil on them. Equipment maintenance. I've added $1,200 into equipment maintenance, and that's another preventative maintenance program. So we have on both our trucks, we have the hydraulic tools, the Jaws of Life spreaders, cutters, rams. Those require a power plant to run. It's a hydraulic pump, and they're portable pumps. Right now, one of them has a slight leak. We're going to get that taken care of, but I want to have preventative maintenance on those pumps as well. So $600 per year for each pump to do preventative maintenance on those hydraulic pumps.
John, was the recent pump and the related equipment purchase that was made, wasn't that approved last month, or was it the month before for the pump truck? The $6,000?
Yeah, that was two council meetings ago,
Okay.
I believe. That was
Kind of related, we'll have another $10,000 to $12,000 in expenses we'll have to incur this budget year, the current budget year, and some to the maintenance, equipment maintenance, and some to the repair maintenance line for the trucks. And so, but it would be dropable and safe. We'll end up a little over on both of those line items.
so.
I
What?
don't think it'll affect how we're looking going forward, do you?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, obviously, I'm adding some extra money into repair maintenance vehicle just because of the issues we've been having, along with preventative maintenance. Hopefully, we'll be okay. But what he's referring to is I brought up the last council meeting about our ladder failing inspection. So when I had them take the truck in to give us an estimate on what it would cost to repair the ladder, there were a couple other issues. The guys were saying the brakes weren't feeling right. There was a popping noise. So I asked them to look over the truck and give me an estimate, itemized, of what it would, any issues that are with the truck, what it would cost to fix it. So basically, what they came up with was a 5-page book, of what was wrong with this truck. And so all the brake drums are cracked and need to be replaced. The seals, the bearings and seals are leaking. Those need to be redone as well. That's to the tune of $5,900. Now, there are 6 brake drums, 6 sets of shoes, and the same amount of bearings.
We had 4 drums in the estimate, and I think 2 of them were, the front ones must have been salvageable, because they have the same part number.
Do we have that what y'all are looking at or not? Is that in here?
We just got this today.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, like literally, like 3 hours ago.
Okay.
I got this emailed to me.
Yeah.
Parts are for front and rear drums, is what it says.
Okay.
So what's the bottom line?
The $6,000 on brakes and.
Well, the bottom line that they gave me
was $23,999, but they did put that I needed a new air compressor, the HVAC compressor for the air conditioning, which we're already taking care of, and Bert is doing it for half that cost that they want to do it for. But he's already got the compressor. He's just holding off because we don't have the truck here to put it in. So that was able to come out. So basically, after the whole list, I went and made my own list of things that are on this list that I think I could do myself. The wiper blades, for instance. They want $77.88 to put wiper blades on. I could do that cheaper. You know, it's just so,
And this
you
is
know.
the ladder truck?
This is the ladder truck, yeah. The officer side low beam, they want $223 to put a new low beam in. And I don't know, they said it was weak. I don't know if it's electrical. I don't know if it's the bulb, but they want $223 to fix that. So, you know, there's things on here that I could do myself that I don't need them to do. But there are a lot of stuff that the brakes, it needs to be done. The ladder extension cylinders, that's $5,000 to fix those. That's got to be done, otherwise we can't use. I have to have the ladder inspected before it could be used, and I can't get inspected until it's working. You know, it's not going to pass. The
Ladder inspector.
Is that what, we approved that though, didn't we? For you to do that?
No,
It wasn't the ladder.
we didn't. It was that vehicle that I had stuff done to, but it wasn't any of this stuff that I had done. The rear differential's leaking. The alternator belt is worn. The air cleaner needs to be replaced. You know, that's something else I could do as well.
This estimate is from.
This is from Siddons Martin. So what they are certified to work on fire trucks, and not every aspect of a fire truck has to be worked on by someone certified. In fire trucks, it's really the pumps and the ladder are the two things that you have to be certified to work on a pump and a ladder. This company is in Kirby. It's Siddons Martin. This is the company that built our engine, the Pierce. So we take stuff over to them because they do good work, and they're close, and they're here in town. There is another company called Rescue that there's actually 3 companies here. One of them I don't use anymore because I've had some bad experiences with them. So I'm down to 2 companies here in town, and I hadn't talked to Rescue yet.
Are they the pump experts, and these guys are the ladder experts?
No, Rescue builds, I think E1s. They build fire trucks also, different company. So, but they're not pump experts. I mean, they're pump experts, but they're not that they're the pump experts and they're the ladder experts. It's they both can do the same thing. But as far as the brakes go, the mayor had called somebody that he knows that does brakes in Bulverde, so they're going to take a look at it, and because anybody could do the brakes, you don't have to be.
An excellent certified big rig truck.
Yeah.
He's going to take a look at it.
So, I mean, I don't know where we're going to go from here. We'll get the brakes fixed. We've already got the compressor for the air conditioner lined up to go in, but after that,
The big thing, obviously, is the ladder.
Yeah, we have to get that done. So, I guess once the brakes are done and we get the compressor put in, I'll call Rescue and see what he wants to charge to do the ladder.
And is any of that in here,
No,
in your budget? No.
no.
I can make copies of these pages and leave them with you tonight, because we'll want to make an agenda item inclusive of the repairs needed for the truck to keep it on the road.
Oh, because that's gonna be in this year. That's gonna be in this year's budget.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what's the longevity of that, get out of work, and say you get $24,000 worth of work done? Do you think it's gonna last another 5 years?
Well, so my intention was to come to y'all next year to look at purchasing a new ladder truck. So I know there are a few people that are not interested in purchasing a new ladder truck.
Why are you looking at me?
I wasn't, but now that you mention it. So, but the truck that we have right now is a 2001. So in 2021, it's going to be 20 years old, and at that point we lose our ISO credit, and trucks should be replaced after 20 years. That's pretty much the lifespan of a fire truck, and I guess we're seeing why, because it's getting to the point where it's just becoming a money trap. So that was my intention, was to come to y'all next year looking to get a new ladder truck. And I know you had called me with an idea that you had, which I know the other two chiefs that are involved in the fire departments you're trying to get with are not interested in doing it. I know the Chavano Park chief pretty much told his council that he was asking for their own ladder truck, and I think the Castle Hills chief said that his mayor said, "Oh, good. Well, they could pay for a third of our new ladder truck we just bought." So I don't know.
We all know, but I'll throw an idea out about getting a few of the entities around us to pitch in and do a coalition of municipalities to purchase this and have that truck moved every quarter, so everybody gets to use it, so we can kind of dilute the initial cost of it all. Because I don't know how many times we use that truck.
We use it every time we get a mutual aid call. That's the one that rolls on our mutual aid call, ladder truck, and we use it for all our business alarms in Hollywood Park. So it gets used. It probably gets used more than the engine does. So I don't know how it's going to work out, because I know that Chavano Park and Castle Hills chief expressed that they definitely want their own ladder truck in-house, because if someone else's truck goes down or it's out on a call, they want to have a ladder truck available. So it was an idea, yeah. I'll go with that.
So how much was that again you were saying? When you said bad idea, how much was that again you said?
Bad idea? I didn't say bad idea. I said it was an idea.
How much is the ladder truck?
It depends on what we get, but it's probably going to be at least $950,000 and probably closer to $1.2 million.
This number here can change.
So,
okay, big time.
If the three fire chiefs got together and they went to the place and said, we're willing to buy three right now, would that help the price, or that's not something good?
I'm not sure, and no, it might. I mean, they're selling a vehicle. Believe me, they're like used car salesmen. They show up here every year, handing out brochures. Yeah, I mean, they'll build a truck just to drive around all over Texas and the United States and show people their truck. So. Actually, we could. I mean, they do sell their demos. They've got a lot of miles on them, but you can get one. I think it's probably going to be around $800,000 to $850,000 for a demo. But then you also have to sit down and make sure it's got everything that you need on it, and if there's anything you have to add to it, and it doesn't come with any of the equipment. So.
Didn't we talk about
that was Murphy's idea was to refurbish this one, and I was waiting for him to tell me which company that he was saying that they could do it for like $400,000, and I'm trying to figure out who can do it for $400,000. So I'm waiting to hear from him who it is, so I can call him and get an estimate. There are. So, and I do know when your fire truck is refurbished, you can get another 10 years of ISO life on it. And then in that 10 years, though, now we're looking at having to buy a fire engine and a ladder truck, because that's going to be 20 years old in 2030. So when I got rid of the engine and bought the new one, my idea was to stagger, and every 10 years we're buying a new piece of equipment instead of 20 years from now when we decide, hey, we don't want to spend the money on this, let's just keep fixing it, and now we have another truck that's coming up behind it that's due to get replaced, and hey, you know, we need $2 million now to buy a ladder truck and a fire engine. So that was my idea when I went with getting that engine at the time, so we could start staggering. But
Read my mind. You know, going along with what Johnny's been describing, here's a copy of the estimate from the shop in Kirby, as well as Johnny also redid a little list of the gross cost, the $23,000 list, and then there's a $17,000 summary of like the real net, kind of the recommended repairs. I didn't make a copy. So there's one for Delane and Scott. You guys all got one now. And we're going to make progress on this, and a lot of it will end up being spent this year, but we'll see what we can do going forward on it. I mean, the AC will be, I think by the end of the month, we'll have a working AC. We'll have the brakes done, and we'll have hopefully the ladder back to snuff. So we're meeting standards, don't you think, Johnny? And then
yeah, there's just, you know, some of the
change next year. We won't have to change the upcoming budget.
You know,
what you've done. Well, we won't have to.
Not the
make changes
upcoming.
yet. We're
No.
gonna be incurring these charges
If we
now.
if we could take care of these major issues right away.
Yeah. Keep it on the fleet.
The only thing, you know, there's some things that I was looking at saying, well, you know, they're saying the seatbelts are worn and should be replaced, but we don't really need to do that. But then, if the guy's getting a wreck and someone gets injured or, God forbid, killed, and we were made aware that the seatbelts were worn and need to be replaced, you know, it's like, what do you? Are we setting ourselves up? I don't know.
What about all your equipment on the hoses?
Hey, Chris. So,
I'm sorry?
just with regards to.
Yeah, our
meeting,
hoses are good.
We've talked about administrative, we've talked about police, now we're talking about fire, and I vaguely remember last year's meeting, so just forgive me, but, are we talking about this so we can meet again and talk about it more, or what's the plan?
Good question. Good question. After Kelly's presented nuances of distinction for his department and departments, then we'll kind of have an overview of where we are. We're gonna meet with EDC and hopefully gain a lot of insight onto the elements of consideration that we want to consider, so that next Monday I'll have a better idea of how realistic those are, and then we'll Anita in the meantime has looked up all the anagrams for those groups and associations, so we won't have to do that as homework. But basically, if we end up with 3 or 4 items that need more analysis, or we could split them up between us as a group, so that when we meet next week, we can have a conclusive, constructive meeting and come to terms with what we're hoping. You know, we will have things still to discuss, like my objective to make significant street improvements. We're hopefully in the July council meeting, we'll have gotten the information from CEC, so we can put out an RFP to get that rolling. We have, hopefully I'll have on the agenda the wording and the details of an opportunity with Clear Channel Outdoor to convert an existing billboard to a digital, which will bring money to us this year. And I also am trying to initiate some dialogue with VIA to find out the feasibility of restoring VIA service in some form to the residents of Hollywood Park. They just opened a beautiful new substation in Stone Oak, at 281 in Stone Oak Parkway, and they've added a bunch of bus stops along Stone Oak Parkway, so they must have a reason to believe that there's a demographic profile that is attractive for VIA, and we have younger residents, we have students and young adults, we have kids and people with special needs that would benefit VIA Trans, as well as seniors. Maybe the timing is good. We already have the concrete pads in place nearly everywhere they need to be I've been there for 20 years. And so the infrastructure needs would be minimal. And if the revenue is significant and can offset any inconvenience, that's where Kelly comes in with tree trimming and helping with the pads and overseeing that. I don't know if he told you that yet, part.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Okay.
But the meeting part, I mean, I just want to make sure
as
so
far as the
we're
meeting
all,
goes,
yeah.
we're talking about expenses and by department and needs, and then next Monday we can go over other things like streets and things like that, and then if we're all in agreement, we can conclude it and go forward, because I don't, right now I don't see enough ways to save with the variable of healthcare costs and benefits. Right now, I'm not seeing a possibility to lower our existing tax rate or to change the exemption or anything like that. It looks like we can get by fine with the tax rate where it is and meet our needs and achieve our goals and fund the street improvements and get everything we want done. But that's what tonight and next Monday are going to help decide.
I just want to make sure that we're not missing something or we should be talking about something else with regards to each.
I've been pleased with the rate of progress we're making department by department. Is everybody else understanding what's being discussed and comfortable?
Yes.
Good.
Okay.
Good. Okay.
And y'all are doing great and holding things down.
Yeah, I'm impressed because it's not easy. Everything costs more.
Because you're coming up next.
Johnny, is it time to turn the floor over to Kelly? No, you're not done.
I'm not done.
Okay.
Oh, you're not done?
No,
Sorry.
he's not done.
I've got one
He
more.
hasn't got to his big number.
He's just getting started.
Got one more line item, 522-820, which I should probably just save for the EDC meeting, but so 522-820.
Specifically,
Other machinery, equipment. So I've got 4 items under that. One of them is called a Havas touchscreen and keyboard. So what we've done, since we've gotten our fire trucks, we have what they call a doghouse. It's a big area between the passenger and the driver. So we don't have our laptops mounted in those trucks. We've been trying to find a mount to put those in, and our problem has been whatever you put there, the laptop sticks up and the driver can't see to the right. So it blocks his view of the intersections and anything on the right side of the truck. And we've just been going crazy. Well, I had the Wayland guy who they started out selling lights and sirens and moved into other things, but he came by and found out that they sell what they call a Havas touchscreen and keyboard, because I'd asked him what they've been putting in fire trucks to eliminate the view being blocked, the obstruction. So he actually had one set up in his Suburban that he was driving, and it's just a little touchscreen and a separate little keyboard. So the touchscreen gets mounted right on the dashboard, and then you got your keyboard off to the side. And it actually, the laptop plugs into it. It's like a remote head, and you keep that mounted underneath the seat or off to the side, wherever you have room to mount that, and you plug the screen and keyboard right into it, and now everything you do on that, you're actually working off your laptop, but you have these small pieces mounted. It's actually a little smaller than this laptop right here.
What is this for?
This is for our CAD. This is when we get a fire call, we get out in the truck, and the computer-aided dispatch is on the screen. So we hit that we're en route, we hit that we're on scene, we hit that we're complete, and when we go complete, we have to choose whatever the call is, whether it's a fire alarm or EMS. If it was turned over to EMS, if they refused, if it was a false alarm, if it was a house fire, whatever. So we put in there what we did or what the outcome was, and then that goes down to our dispatch. When the guys come here, that information gets all pulled up on the computer here at the station, and they do their report. So that's it. You can map. You hit the address, and it tells you how to get there. There's a map on that as well, and so that's how we go to and from calls is with that CAD. Basically, it's the same thing the police department uses in their vehicles as well. So obviously the only issue is on those two big trucks, so I would only need 2 of those Havas touchscreens with keyboards and installation. On the Quint, which the one that's the ladder truck, that's we don't have a mobile radio on that to be able to talk to dispatch. So we use our handhelds, but handhelds have dead spots here and there. The mobile radios are 5 watts, where these are 3 watts, and especially going out in the county, there's times the guys are not able to talk to dispatch because they don't have a mobile radio in that truck. We never had one, so I'm looking at getting a mobile radio put in that truck.
Which truck?
The one that's not working right now.
Okay.
If we ever get it back and operational, I'd like to put a radio in it. The third item is called a FireCom system, and what that is headsets that you put on with microphones, and that's so the guys in the truck can hear each other when the truck's driving down the road. They could talk, and the lieutenant can tell them, hey, there's smoke showing, I can see it already, start gearing up, or any type of information they need to talk about on the way to a call, so they could hear each other, because you can only imagine they're sitting literally as far away as you and I are, and they're sitting on top of an engine, and it's loud in there, and you can't really hear each other talk without yelling. So we actually do have fire comms in those trucks right now. The one on the Quint is not operational. It went down, and I haven't replaced that one. The one on the engine works, but they have coil cords that go to the headset, and they're getting frayed, and we probably would have to replace those headsets soon. But one of my engineers brought up a point which led me to put this into the budget, is he wanted a cordless headset for the FireCom, because when you get out of the truck and get to the pump panel, all you have is your handheld radio. So you're trying to hold this and work the pump, and you can't hear anything. Those pumps are run off of the engine of the truck. They're PTOs, which mean power takeoff. So you have to put the truck in neutral, put it in pump gear, put it back in drive, and your transmission is now driving your pump. And when you crank up the RPMs to pump water, it's like standing next to that truck with the engine going, you can't hear anything. So he wanted a cordless, and really he was just talking about just the driver having one, so we wouldn't have to get a whole new system. After looking into it, the system we have does not support cordless headsets, so we would have to get a whole new system in order to do that.
Do you know of other municipalities that have this?
Yeah, all the trucks have the fire comms. Now, I don't know how many of them have cordless ones.
If they're wireless, though, if you got to store the batteries, if the occasion to drain them and recharge them doesn't happen often, doesn't the battery life suffer greatly? I mean, you could run out there and realize they don't have any juice in the batteries and the headset.
So my guys go out every morning and check the vehicle. They check everything. They check everything that needs batteries. Our air packs that we wear take
Same
batteries.
setup?
They take batteries as well.
NiCads
So
or whatever?
you've got a little computer on there that tells you how much air you have and how much air you have left and your breathing rate, and it transmits out to a program. I could see when we're on scene who is on scene, who's got their air pack turned on, how much air they have. I could hit an emergency button and tell them to get out. It'll show up on their air pack, hey, you need to get out, you're getting recalled.
Do you
Those
discharge them?
take batteries.
Do you discharge them periodically
No,
and then recharge
they're
them?
not
They're
rechargeable.
not that
You
type?
put there. Most of this stuff takes AA's or AAA batteries.
that's
So
okay.
you just replace batteries. But
You have onboard chargers for those.
I'm not
No,
opposed to this.
Just put new batteries in them.
I'm not opposed to this wireless system. I'm just my only concern would be just the performance of it, and then okay, now you've got this system. How hardy are they? I mean, is this something now you're going to have to budget every year for a new headset or a new this or new that, and then it's just
Well,
going down that road?
You know, that I'm not sure because I've never used them, but I could say that their headsets that we're using right now are Firecom headsets. Those have held up great. I mean, the headsets are fine. It's the cords that are getting frayed because you're constantly hanging them up, taking them down, getting caught on air packs and stuff.
And I wonder what kind of range these things. I mean, I don't know. I mean, these are all just questions that I just.
So they're designed to work at the pump panel. I don't know if you can walk a mile away and use them, but that's not what they're intended for.
Right. They're just made to work.
They're made to work at the truck. Yeah.
I would be curious to find out if other, who else has those and if they like them or if they're like, no, these things are breaking all the time or they don't work. I just would like to have that information.
And
if
the
you brought a little more information about some of the things in that 522, 820, any kind of brochures or any kind of information, would that be helpful, guys? To know more about that? 'Cause I really would, if it does seem worthwhile, I really think it could be a shoe-in to the EDC thing.
This is all the information on the radio, everything that's involved with the two-way radio, mobile radio. This is the bid on the Havas touchscreen, and I do not have. You know what? I'm missing something under 338. Oh, I'm sorry. I'd like to back up back to 338 under vehicle maintenance. I skipped an item. I wanted to put a backup camera on our brush truck and on our command unit. That's included in 338. Get so caught up in preventative maintenance and whatever else we were talking about, I forgot about that one. So if you have any questions on that, if not, we'll go back down to where we were.
Okay, what's the B-129 and the C-129?
Brush 129 and Command 129. Those are vehicles.
What sort of ammunition does the fire department like to have on hand?
We do the exact same thing as our police department. We have the exact same certifications. We have to do the exact same continuing education, and we have pretty much the same SOPs for law enforcement side of it, and we also switched to the 9mm. Yeah. Absolutely.
820.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was going to say. If y'all don't have any questions, I'll go back to where we were. So the T-Mobile CAD router is, I thought Shad was going to bring that up as well, because that's something we were looking at. It's basically, and you could jump in is whenever I mess this up, Shad. Not if, but when. Right now, all our laptops that operate a CAD program, the computer aided, which is basically all the laptops in all our vehicles, have a SIM card in them and a air card. So in order to communicate with the county for our dispatch, what Shad found was a router that goes in the vehicle that you're able to hook the computer to that, and it creates a stronger signal as well as a hotspot. So if you're in the field and you need to connect your laptop or whatever to a hotspot, every vehicle will now be a mobile hotspot. The cost is pretty much the same as what we're spending right now to just have a SIM card with an inside the laptop.
Yeah, it's better service, same cost. You just have it up front, equipment cost, but it's a small, it's pretty cheap.
So you pay the $1,500 for the equipment.
Yeah.
But then you pay.
Yeah, you have a monthly fee, but we already pay a monthly fee on each.
So it won't go up though.
No, we would just be transferring service basically.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
Now, I'm done.
Wake up, Kelly. You're up.
My turn.
Batter up.
Now that all the first responders have taken everything,
You get nothing. You get a bag of Skittles.
Yellow
I'm
ones.
already out of Skittles.
Here. For when I have to.
Hey,
give
you
back.
gotta share that with the rest of the work.
The two of these are Jesse's, the two of these.
That's right.
So, we'll start off, I guess we're gonna start off with Public Works first.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're gonna start off with Public Works, which is, 5:30. So what we started off with on my, salaries, I have talked with the mayor and, I don't know how he wants to handle this, but I put in for a pay increase for me. I got my guys good pay increases last year. New guys are working real well. Bad news is our code compliance guy has received a job offer from USAA and accepted it, so he will be leaving us. Good news is I've got an interview with him guy tomorrow, so.
Code or Public Works? Both. Is he gonna stay on part-time or
Well,
any news on that?
Efren has, said that, expressed interest that he'd like to stay on part-time, working code. So I'm playing with ideas of just bringing a guy in just to, pick up the slack in Public Works. There's some dynamics involved with the part-time thing. He's gonna be in 90 days of training with USAA, so the only available time he's gonna have is gonna be in the evenings or on a weekend, which is kinda hard to do code in the evenings and weekends, so we're trying to figure some stuff out there.
So wait, you're saying the guy who is leaving wants to still work
He
part-time?
wants to stay part-time as our code guy. There's some dynamics that, scheduling things that we'll have to work out. I'm not opposed to the idea, I mean, he's a really, really sharp young man.
Which dude is he? Rodriguez, Hernandez, or Fernandez?
Fernandez.
Fernandez is
Yes,
code.
ma'am.
Okay.
So I didn't budget in there a change in anything because I don't really know how the change would be able to be worked. I have to bring that to you once things are figured out a little bit. So I just left in the budget that we're gonna have a full-time third Public Works / code compliance guy.
But his salary's still in there, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You don't have to call him ma'am.
Kelly.
Hey, I've got a question about your salary. I mean, and I don't mean to just bring this up, but your salary is 40 currently?
No. Last year, when Mayor Phils was here, he took half of my payroll, and it comes out of, I believe it's the venue fund. Okay, so this is only half of my payroll.
Okay.
He makes
So-
65,000 right
I
now.
was
Okay.
at 65 last year.
And 25 is from the venue,
Excuse me?
25 is from.
No.
No,
If
it's
you're
half
looking
and
at,
half.
you're looking, this right here is what this year's is. Okay, so that's what I'm, half
trust you.
out of here and half out of venue.
Well, I have to tell you that I just about fell out of my chair when I saw the raise you were wanting, $15,000.
No, and I understand.
Okay.
I mean, I put it out there, gotta start with a number someplace.
Okay, well, I would go
Yes, you
substantially
did.
lower.
Yes, you did.
Make it more
But-
to police chief.
Huh?
That would be your pay.
And like I said, I'll let the mayor speak on that whenever he's ready to speak on that.
You know, looking at comparable public works or / director of facilities pay in the municipalities around us, the bulk of, there are 20 that we've got information on, and the average of them all is around 77,000. I know,
And the time on job varies greatly.
the size of the areas vary greatly, the number of parks and things. Also, again, I think he had an excellent review from Mayor Fales before he left, and I think the job he's been doing with respect to the Wood Center's been excellent, and I know he's seen and fixed a lot of things that could have been discarded or replaced with like-type items at our expense. I think, again, I don't want to keep beating the EDC drum, but the same way we were able to tap into the venue fund for a portion of his comp, if we can find a way to tap into the EDC for him helping us market our town as a viable contemporary event venue location with our Voight Center, I think it would be an easier way to support his wish for more pay or more comp. Otherwise, we could consider changing the way that you're paid, Kelly, making it more reflective of the time of year when the Voight Center is the most active and being used the most, and make it commensurate to the time you're having to invest there. If I don't know, I've gotten the impression that there were times of the year where, like you said, we're booked there almost every other day through the bulk of the summer. It won't be like that 4 or 5 months of the year, October through March. But lots of little things he's done that warrant mention, like the fact that Triangle Park has had a full operational sprinkler system installed in it when they redid the park 10, 15 years ago. Hasn't worked in 10 years. And we've spent public works time to go out there and water the trees every week, much, ignoring the grass pretty much.
Yeah.
They haven't, and as the drought continues, the grass is showing it. He went out there and he and Jimmy fixed, Jesse completely fixed the irrigation system and the timer and all that, and it's fully operational, working, so the grass should stay alive, the tree should stay alive, and did it within his budget. I think that's worthy of note. I think I'd like to embrace an increase in his comp. I would like to see what kind of help we can get from EDC.
I think that a merit increase is deserved, but I'm looking at this guy who supervises 16 or 17 people, who's making about what Kelly's asking for. I just don't think it's equitable. And I know, what you're talking about, comps around here, it's very difficult to compare us with other places. We have, our budget is, now going to be like $5 million. You're looking at other places whose budget is completely, it's not, we're not comparing apples and oranges. And so, I would be looking at like a 5% increase. Our residents are not getting a 25% raise, and no one else in the city is. And nothing personal, I tell everybody that in the beginning. But yes, I think you're a great employee, but I think you are hired at a high incoming rate at 65. And so that's my feeling. I think it would be completely inequitable if we, give someone a $15,000 raise up to when these guys have big departments that they're managing. And I just don't think it would be equitable. So I cannot support that.
I actually see us reaching a point where it'll be important that the Voight Center become an even greater self-sustaining resource, and maybe have a person dedicated to the renting of it, the maintenance of it, the operation of it, kind of like a property manager or something, and maybe the comp tied to that could be tied to the venue fund, because it's pretty much, if that was their responsibility, you know, the marketing of it, the selling of it, the closing the contracts of it.
Hospitality manager is what you're
Yes,
looking for.
yes. You know, like a venue director, like at a resort or something. And it may entail creating a small office for them on site somewhere where they can meet clients there and present it and do all that. I think it'll be important that we see it evolve to that, to continue to take care of itself. But in the meantime, I don't know if it's something to think about between now and next Monday. What might be a fair, what might be an appropriate or fair gesture to make to Kelly, just like.
What do y'all think?
I agree he should get something. How many years you got?
6.
6 years here?
Taking us that long to get there.
Forever 30.
30. At Hollywood Park?
Yeah, well, I volunteer and then full-time 23 years.
And you've got
Year and 4 months.
2 months.
Okay.
I mean, what's the highest increase we're doing right now is 3%, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I would say the same thing, a 3% raise.
I was looking at maybe 5% on the judge and the prosecutor, but they're one time a month. The fact that you were able to start out at a tenured relative rate of pay, if you look at the other public works guys, it was a gesture in good faith to embrace skill set in lieu of tenure to a degree. I know. Well, we want to table that and give it some thought. Come back to it Monday.
I guess one of my questions would be is Public Works Department, are we understaffed?
We're about to be.
I mean, are we understaffed now?
I wouldn't
currently?
say we're understaffed. I would say the skill set of the guys that I have is limited in what they can do. So to compensate for that, I spend a extraordinary amount of hours here doing maintenance and repairs and work that the guys don't have the skill set to
I mean,
do.
in Kelly's defense, I will say that he does spend a lot of time working on Hollywood Park stuff, more than your normal 40 or 50 hours a week, and I can attest to that. You know, do you need a 25% increase? No, I don't think so. But I do think that he puts in the time. I think at some point maybe that it may get to be where he's working 80 hours a week, and you know that's just too much for anybody to work. And then you're going to have to turn around and hire another employee and pay him. So I think that's something we need to balance out and see. I mean,
Or get people who can do what you need them to do.
Yeah, I mean, are you hiring people?
You know, if you're-
but you're going to have to pay him to do
That's
it
not
too.
the
You're not
problem.
going to pay somebody $8
Problem
an
is,
hour.
we're limited in what we can
and
pay.
expect them to know how to do all this
People
stuff.
that have the skill set
You're just
aren't
not
going to
gonna
come
get
to
it.
work for $14 an hour. I mean, it's
just like any
the
other
problem of running a municipality, and I understand it.
Right.
And
But
that's
it's like any other position in the city or in the town. I mean, you can pay somebody $8 an hour, but that's what you're going to get.
Yes, sir.
If you want to pay somebody that's knowledgeable, that has skills, you're going to have to pay for it.
But we're not paying them $8 an hour. We're paying them 15 and 14 and 18.79.
I mean, I feel fortunate that we have Kelly here at this time with a versatile skill set. He knows pools, he knows landscaping, he knows mechanical repair, and he can also deal well with clients. And that fourth element is an unusual element when you take into account, at least my experience of hiring and interviewing people to do part-time work for me that had a range of skills, but also being able to deal with customers and clients is a real
Because most municipalities don't, I mean, I say most, some, they have public works directors that don't deal with anybody but the employees that work, that they work for them.
True.
And that's it. and deal with homeowners and, people renting.
Party hosts.
Right, party hosts and stuff like that. That's something, I mean, you know, and he chooses to do these things. He doesn't have to, but that's an important aspect of it. That he chooses. I mean, he doesn't have to be here 80 hours a week, but he does, and that's
It is my
something to be said
choice,
for that.
The choice comes from, this is my town. Y'all hired me to take care of this town, and that means every aspect of this town. You know, if the police chief calls me and says I need help, I'm gonna go help him. If Johnny calls me and says I need help, I'm gonna go help him. That's part of my job.
Your quick thinking and suggestion to go to the wristbands from the swimming pool passes really streamline the hassles at City Hall.
And don't get me wrong, I think you're great. I mean, I'm
think
your
that was
biggest
helpful.
fan. But at the same time, I cannot reconcile an $80,000 salary when I'm looking at what these guys are getting paid. I can't do it.
I
So,
agree with Debbie. I mean, these guys do a lot of self-training and have certifications. And, I mean, this guy's an old horse here. He's been, I don't know how many years you got left in you.
Are you an old horse?
You gotta have a college degree
I
just to be the
wanted
chief
to
here.
retire yesterday. My wife said no.
You know, we don't have to decide this tonight. You know, we've covered a lot of ground and.
No, I think we just need to get all this stuff on the table, and so we
Yeah.
have things to think about.
A little more pressure on the EDC, I guess.
Well, let me ask you, point out.
Sure.
Did you get any offers?
No,
Okay.
not looking for them.
All right, that's fine.
You get any offers?
I was approached a couple months ago.
I do.
It doesn't look like he has time to really field them.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
I think we're keeping it pretty
Guys, I'm gonna be
just
brutally
guessing.
honest.
Yeah.
We keep
I
it
like
snowed,
it.
he won't have a chance.
Whether I get a pay increase or not, it's not gonna affect what I do.
I mean, I want you to get some sort of pay increase. I do, but I just don't. There's no way I could.
But I also realize what my skill set is and what I bring to the table. And, you know, I've got no problem. I'm gonna do the work because that's who I am. I don't work here because y'all wanna pay me a bunch of money. I work here because I like what I do.
You like it enough to stay where you're at?
If that's what y'all decided, that's what I
You
would
knew more
do.
about
I
the
mean,
splash pad than
I
anybody.
wouldn't have started you at
It's easy,
65. Is the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
So for that, I mean, you know, I think you started high from the beginning, and we didn't have a say in that.
No,
Speaking of, from here on out, do we have a say in those?
from here on out, it's your call. It's
And I
your
think that,
call.
I think that, are we supposed to do code compliance too?
Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah. And so that'll be another issue that's coming up right now.
Yeah.
And unless, that's why I was anxious to find out the part-time possibility.
Yeah.
And that's still in the works, so it's still, yeah. Maybe we'll know more by next Monday. Stay tuned, folks.
Well, can we go through the rest of
Yes.
your budget and?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we got payroll. You go down to uniforms and, 53110, that's the next increase. And the reason that increase is there is not because I increased it, but because when Mayor Fells was here, he had put it over to the venue fund, and Anita said it can't be over the venue fund, it has to be here.
531?
53110,
Okay, gotcha. Oh, I got you.
okay?
So we have city uniforms on Public Works?
My guys get a uniform allowance.
So before was half of it over on,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Half
gotcha.
was over the venue fund.
okay, so it's just coming out of venue and going over here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I know what you're thinking, why not all of it from the venue fund? It's the venue. I don't know.
So the next line was the 53220, and that's supplies for public works. I did a $500 increase. It's just supplies, everything, cost of everything goes up. Next one was repair and maintenance of vehicles. Did some increases there, but one of the reasons is because Janice has graciously allowed us to use the Explorer, the admin vehicle, and in return, I'm taking over all the maintenance. So I do the inspections, my guys do the oil changes, we don't farm anything out. My department, everything runs through the shop.
So what do you use the Explorer for?
Code compliance.
Okay.
They got magnetic door stickers for it, and so, and the fender flares.
So that's, and also half of that, half of the repairs and maintenance and half the fuel oil was over in the venue fund and has to come back.
Bummer.
So sweet.
Well,
Says Anita.
No, so the only thing that was approved to come out of the venue fund was salaries. And so the venue fund is restricted. I did send an email out to Mr. Brennan to ask him what are the restrictions of how we can use the venue fund. And as far as I could tell, it was just the salaries that
Okay.
could come out that would be shared with Public Works. And the other would be if there was construction or any sort of things of that nature at the void.
Is specifically the word used shared, as though implying it's equal, or is that your understanding that the expenses to be divided, or when it says shared, is there interpretive?
So salaries were half was coming out
Okay,
of venue.
split,
and-
okay.
Yeah, split, and half
Okay.
was coming out of Public Works. And I think the reason for that was because these guys are pretty much maintaining that space.
Yeah. So any percentage raise given from the,
It's half.
our fund should be matched by the venue fund.
Yes.
Okay.
And then while I'm there, EDC is not allowed to pay salaries.
Right, that's right, gotcha.
Right, and so, and like I said, I do have an email to Mr. Brennan, what that restrictions are, but I think they're probably going to remain the same.
Hey, it's Brian. I'm a contractor. I play with them friggin' numbers all the time. I'll call it whatever you want.
Actual construction and portable restrooms, things like that.
I mean, if that's, I mean, that's good information.
Did it? I mean, if he used it and said he had nothing but problems with it, then maybe see what else there is.
Yeah.
Maybe next year.
next one is equipment rental lease, same thing. It was over the venue, it has to come back. Didn't make any changes, but it shows there's a change.
Oh, I got you. It's not salary, I got you.
Let's see, where was I at?
I'll give you $20 for throwing them in the bus.
Schools and SEMA, 353.
Radios aren't in here.
Did you say 533, 353?
533, 45.
45.
And then in capital outlay, 53820, I put a few items in there. The tires on the Ranger are in pretty bad shape. They're gonna need to be replaced, or we're gonna be sliding around them.
How old is that Ranger?
Don't hold me to this, but I think it's an 04. if I'm not positive.
Yeah.
What's the 8,000 for
This-
vehicles? 810,
Where are you looking at?
53810.
Oh, that's the payment for the,
That's the scheduled
new
payment
truck.
on the truck we have.
How many more payments do we have on
That
that?
truck's 1 year old.
And so we paid it over how many, like 4 years or something, or 5 years?
I couldn't tell you what the lease is on
I
that.
think it's 4.
Did we budget 27,000 for that or something like that?
I think that's what it
Seems
Isn't that
like
right?
it. Yeah.
That sounds
Okay.
right.
So it might be 3.
You remember that? I'm sorry, what was budgeted for the big truck?
May depend on what part of the budget year we got it in, because it might have had a partial.
I don't remember, 18 maybe, 21, was it that high?
I don't know. That's what she would.
I think that's right.
I don't remember.
Let's find that out for next week.
I got, the budget request came from an HGAC price, but I think Judy got it cheaper somewhere.
Sounds right.
53820.
53820. So the tires for the Ranger, I put in for a shop heater. Last year I rebuilt all the shop heaters for everybody else, but I couldn't get mine up and running. So my shop was kind of on the chilly side. So I put in $1,000 so I can replace my shop heater in there.
Is that just in the little office or the
No,
whole?
the shop heater.
Oh, okay.
I actually, y'all gave me money so I could replace my air conditioner I actually got a deal on a air conditioner heater for my office. And and then I also put in for a welder. The welder we've got, it's a wire welder. It's actually I think it's a 1984 model.
Is it portable or not?
It's a little bitty portal wire welder.
Gasoline? What?
No,
Electric?
it's electric. And what I'm looking for is just to replace it with one that's
Do you use it a lot?
not a ton, but when I need it, I need it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that you can, I mean, fortunately, I've got a good friend of mine who has one, and I get him to bring his over, and I borrow it,
Mm-hmm.
because that one there is so bad, you don't ever know if it's gonna work or not.
EDC.
So, that's all in the public works budget.
What about that last one, 538.50?
538.50, that's, street repairs. Potholes, crack sealer, all that kind of
Where
stuff.
are we at right now on what we've spent this year on street repairs?
We have spent very, very little.
Very little.
And the reason is, I'm still working, trying to find a company that I can come in and get them to do a small amount each
Yeah.
month, do some crack repairs and seal it. And so what we've only spent on street repairs is what my guys have,
It's getting harder and harder to find someone like that, isn't it?
it really is.
That's what I hear.
And I could do it, but I don't wanna ask the council for the money for the equipment, so.
So for next time, what was it that you needed more information on? Was it just the vehicle leasing, or was
We were
it?
curious what the total price on the vehicle and what kind of payment plan it is. If it's set up for annual payments, that's a little different, because we've had leases and.
Hey,
other
Kelly?
things.
Yes, sir.
Oak wilt suppression, I mean,
Excuse me?
oak wilt suppression, what is that? I mean, I know what oak wilt suppression is, but what are we doing there? I mean, what?
We've got containers, that we loan out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what it is, it's the, okay.
And the chemicals, or?
No, we do not do the chemicals. To do the chemicals, you have to have an applicator's license and all
That would
that,
make a big
those
difference.
fees, and that's
So
not.
can the residents buy the chemicals?
The residents can get the chemicals. You can go get the chemicals yourself without an applicator's
And then we
license.
were gonna
But since we're
see
a
what all those subscriptions were for.
municipality or a business, or you have to
Oh,
have
you
an
did?
application.
Okay.
Solved all the riddles.
Well, girl,
Correct.
y'all know all.
$1,000 to buy new
And a grant.
It's just to keep them maintained, because they've got hoses and valves and all kinds of gauges and stuff on them that makes them work. I've got 8 of them, and 3 that aren't
Do you get a lot of
operational.
use?
Excuse me?
Do you get a lot of use? I mean,
Not a ton of use.
Several of my neighbors have gotten them.
Yeah.
I would say probably 20, 25 times a year. Some little people come and get them,
Right.
and they'll pick up 1 or 2 of them at a time.
And under street signs?
Yes, sir.
Is that just like when somebody whacks a sign? Or
That's for when people whack a sign, or when,
chief runs over one?
last year we knew a new ordinance, so I had to post some new signs. This year we had to have, I had a new street sign made because there was one that wasn't made.
Hmm.
I don't know if someone stole it or.
Good news.
I have good news also.
Or next year is the last
We have
payment.
2 bits of good news to share as we finish up. The truck was paid off in April of this year.
The big truck?
Yes.
That's 1 year old. That doesn't sound right.
I'm holding it to him. You wanna think that? We're gonna confirm that. We'll know the answer by next Monday.
What's the other good news? Good news is?
Yes, I have
He
something.
has good news also. Stay tuned.
So Councilman Bailey had asked if I know anybody who uses these, and I just reached out the wireless headsets. I reached out to the Castle Hills chief and Chavano Park chief. Castle Hills chief, no sir, I don't use them. The Chavano Park chief, no sir, tried them and had nothing but problems. So I'm going to go ahead and pull them off of the budget. We're going to remove $8,000 from that line item, and I'll explore other options and either come to y'all during the year or next budget.
Great.
That was the
Thanks for doing that.
820.
Absolutely.
820 of the fire department.
Yeah.
8,000 off one
That's
point
two.
Here's one time. That's 1.2. One piece at a time.
That was 522,820 will now become 8,900 instead of 16,900, which now brings me to 3.78% over last year.
That's 8,000 less I gotta have EDC.
So your total increase was,
No,
Did you want me to go with you, Chris?
So I'll be removing the 8,000 for the FireCom, and the total will be 8,900 in that
okay,
line
and
item.
then, I'm looking at the bottom, you had a 3.01%.
That was wrong. It was actually 4.51 when I came in here, and now it's 3.78.
3.78% increase. And that includes the new fireman.
Correct.
A bunch of stuff we're doing
So any other questions on the public works?
And Mayor Murphy's buying dinner tonight.
Oh, did I say that out loud?
Okay, guys, we still have Parks and Rec, the Voight Center, this, what else did you say?
Parks, Boyd Venue, and Boyd Civic Fund.
Tonight?
We want to tackle these tonight? Do we want to?
Those are still in the general fund, is that right?
No.
Okay.
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec, so let's do that one, right? Because that's still in general. Okay. And then
You
we've
wanna
done,
stop at
and then
that
we finished general.
For tonight, we'll have finished general.
All right, so
Is that
Parks
a
and
good
Rec.
stopping point?
I think so.
Okay.
Parks and Rec is, probably has the biggest increases because we didn't know what Boyd was gonna take. And it's just, it takes a lot. And everything that was in Boyd for a year was under maintenance or was under warranty. It's no longer under warranty. So now everything that breaks, we have to fix. I've been.
Everything on the Voight Center?
Yes, sir.
Not on the pool?
Everything on the pool too.
Oh, nothing is under warranty anymore?
Warranties are gone.
How long are the warranties, a year?
1 year. So I've been beating the guys up and the vendors, and I've actually got them to come fix stuff.
Even
past
pumps and all that stuff's only
all
a
that
year?
stuff. So I don't know what the maintenance is going to be.
Put it on the budget.
One of the benefits of having me on staff is I'm a preventive maintenance guy. So I see stuff, I fix it before it breaks. Keeps costs way down that way. But let's see, I did on Boyd supplies, I did a $1,000 increase there. Had no idea we were going to be using so many supplies over there, but when we have all these events, paper towels, toilet paper, cleaning supplies, we got to have them. Repair maintenance internal, that's a biggie. Just it's going to cost to fix stuff. It's just ice maker, refrigerator, stove, dishwasher, electrical supplies, the AV system, phone system, chairs, tables, air conditioner, heaters, toilets. All this stuff breaks. All this stuff has to be repaired. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if you can do this with commercial property, but like when you own a home, you buy that home warranty thing. No, they don't do that. Just thought.
They will
Well, I know they don't ever.
deny everything you ever asked.
So just an example of what I'm talking about.
They're joking around with me.
Yeah. Will you guys behave, please?
Sorry. Chief, separate. Oh, wait, I can't. So in April, we had a huge hailstorm. Or not a hailstorm, not a huge hailstorm. We had electrical storm. An electrical strike someplace in the city. The damage it did to the Boyd Center took out 5 cameras, 2 camera controllers, one of the irrigation controllers, the controller for the splash pad. Now I was able to finagle and get all this stuff repaired under maintenance, under warranty. But something like that happens, we have to eat the cost on it.
We have insurance still for that kind of.
It will be some of it.
Deductible, yeah.
Correct, but we still have the deductible. So I put in surge protectors. I've talked to other people I know that run operations management for, real good friend of mine used to be the operations manager for the Museum of Arts. He said this is what they ran on all their big pumps, their cooling systems and everything. So we need to put some surge protectors on. Hail protectors. Those just big cages that go around the air conditioners. So if we have a hailstorm, they don't get beat up. I don't have any idea what the cost is. I've been waiting almost a week and a half for a...
Where is the AC on the...
Right behind the voice center.
It is
There's
behind
two
the
units.
Butterfly garden.
So just FYI, guys, because I'm in construction and I deal with these buildings all the time, and the pool stuff too, it's just going to get worse from here on out. I mean, the pool pumps, the maintenance, all that stuff, and it's not cheap. So just, I mean, you know this.
Yes, sir.
As time goes on, it's just going to get more and more expensive to run all of this stuff down there. It's going to get very expensive.
Why do we only get a year on all this stuff?
That's standard.
That's construction warranty. Now,
And all that equipment like that splash pad and
Like
everything.
if you go buy a pool pump, like for your own personal pool, and I know this for a fact.
90 days?
You 0 days.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, because they can't warranty them because they don't know who's maintaining the pool.
How you're using it? Or
And how I mean, it would almost be impossible because you get people, I mean, I deal with them all the time. You got people
Now-
that take care of their stuff and people that don't. So,
One of the advantages or one of the good things about this is with the pool and the Voight Center, we've done almost $100,000 into the general fund this year. Am I correct, Anita? I said with the pool and the Voight Center, we've done close to $100,000 into the general fund. Or $80,000, what was it?
It's close.
Now, was that profit after you paid electricity and the cleaning
No.
people and all
That's
that?
gross.
That's
Okay.
before that. But that's money going into the coffers to help cover some of this. The Voight Center revenue's going to increase. The move y'all made back in February
Yeah, huge.
helped immensely. It's going to increase, almost 100%. Everybody I've talked to is, man, we're going to book it again. And this is great. So
I had a handle on it exactly. I know Anita and I talked about it, but just moving the checkpoint for people coming to the pool to the outside at the front and not walking right by that little office and counting on the lifeguards to.
Well,
look
they're
out and see
sitting
it.
outside, well, last time I was up
Yeah,
there,
right.
they sit outside.
Yes, ma'am.
That change alone brings in a lot more cash every day, every weekend. That little bag that's stuffed in the door in the lobby it's significantly more this year than last. And
Rentals are about $27,000.
so that's 9 months, right? From October. So almost so 27,000.
and then
The pool, I think it was like, it went at like 50 or something already?
Yeah, we were close to 50, so that's almost $80,000 right there, and that's only 9 months.
Are we budgeting anything for maintenance? As far
Excuse
as
me?
are we budgeting for that?
It's in
Hypothetically, your big pump goes out tomorrow.
No, it's not budgeted in there.
repair maintenance, we got 4,000.
We've got.
repair
I'm
maintenance.
building it up.
What does a pump cost? I mean, that's gonna be
I
pretty damn
don't know
close
what
to
those
that.
pumps cost.
Installation, and you do that, or we
Yeah, I can do all that.
How are you building it up? I'm just curious.
Well,
The money
I'm
doesn't
not.
roll over
I'm
next
not
year,
building
right?
it up. I'm not like I'm
You
building a
should
slush
use it,
fund,
right?
but everything's still fairly new. It's not all. We're not going to have. We shouldn't have a major catastrophe. If I can get surge protectors on there, that's going to help take care of problems. Stuff like that. Next year, yeah, I'm going to have to increase it. Maintenance is going to go up. We're going to have to budget to take and keep things running. So we're over 80,000
Or
already.
unusual random kind of items too, like the handicap swing out seat that we had to buy to meet the ADA that I don't think it's been used yet. We have to remove it from the pool side for swim meets, and when you try to, it had a real flimsy, fragile plastic thing to hold it.
Pedestal to hold
And
it.
it broke and it collapsed, and so the thing fell in and it did some damage to the room that it stored in, the pump room. So Kelly's gonna create
I'll build my own.
holder out of wood or something that we can set the thing in so it won't fall and damage itself or the room it's in, and going forward and things like that, and the storage of the pool covers and things. It's a growing process, but it all comes back to
Just
the need to-
FYI, in the future, they do make those that are portable too.
What's that?
Those
swing out
legs.
chairs.
Well, and I realize that,
That's it.
and we probably could have gone that direction,
Right.
but
This was a last second thing.
Sure.
After the thing was the whole.
That's required, wasn't it?
it was
Yeah.
required.
ADA.
Yeah, and it's really not that big a deal. The problem is the pedestal inside the pump room that we used to store it in is plastic.
Right.
It broke.
That was from the old pool, wasn't it? Or did y'all buy a new
No,
one?
the pedestal, they
This
bought
was
a new
new
one.
thing.
So what I'm doing is I'm building a metal one. I'm gonna build one out of stainless steel,
Right.
weld it up, bolt it down. It'll never break again.
Right.
It'll cost us $10 in stainless steel and an hour of my time to build it.
Right.
There's no Wi-Fi in the pool area, just in the.
No, sir. Just inside the Voight Center.
You don't think that Wi-Fi would reach the pool at all, correct?
I do not think it will.
What telephone is so expensive?
That's what, I'm working on that. This is a work in progress. We have 5 lines down there. I do not know why. It was before I came on. We have an emergency line inside the pool. Okay. I've got a line that I just put into the lifeguard's office because I banned cell phones for the lifeguards. So they have to have communication. I've got a line that I'm putting into the Voight Center, so we'll have a landline in the Voight Center. The other 2, I don't know why they're there, but the problem is, excuse me?
Where are they?
Well, they all come into the Voight Center. Everything comes into the Voight Center and then branches out of there.
The telephone.
So we have 5 lines, but we're
There's
not
5 lines,
using
but
5?
we've been using one for a year.
Oh, yeah. So
I'm
we-
trying to find out what lines are what, so I can disconnect the other
There should be
2.
one on the alarm
We have
system.
AT&T or-
Yeah, there's one for the alarm.
We don't have an alarm there. There is no alarm system. We have a fire alarm, which is wireless.
How do they get? It's all just wireless.
Your
There's no
fire alarm,
landline?
yeah, is wireless.
So we have 5 separate lines down there.
5 separate
and only
lines.
2 that we're using.
We used one last year. We're using 3 now.
Okay.
I've got to figure out what the numbers are so I can get the other 2 disconnected. And this comes back into that AT&T, oh, you don't have authority to say anything on this. Who does? Someone that died 9 years ago. Well, what am I supposed to do?
All right.
Pretend you're that person.
All right.
He's been resurrected.
It's something that will get worked out,
Okay.
but
That's a good one. That's a good one to work on too, though. That's a good one.
Kelly, has any ISD get back to you at all on their
yes, that will
schedule and
be in
stuff?
the next council.
Okay, because I'm seeing the winter pool service 1280.
That is added in there
Right.
for, I'm trying to get prepared for the council. So, stuff I've added in there. Let's see, where was I at? Surge protectors. We've got to have them, guys. Lightning out here. I mean, it just kills us. I spent 2 weeks out there fixing stuff.
The $9,000 for water, is that just?
That's just the water pool.
Just the pool's full already.
It uses water. It uses
Don't
water
stay that
constantly.
way.
Yeah,
$9,000
It's a
for
big
the
pool.
water.
You got the pool, the splash pad.
Pool,
and
splash
the
pad,
peak.
plus irrigation, plus the
water,
voice.
Yeah.
And is that how much we paid, like, in the last year or so, or is that just an
Okay,
estimate?
that's, what I did is I took 9 months of the water bill
Uh-huh.
and calculated out.
Good.
And that's just the closest wild guess I can come up. We haven't even,
Right, because last year, there was no number.
we don't have a year under our belt with it
Yeah.
yet. So,
A couple thousand, we overshot it a little bit.
electric, gas,
One resident showed up. I can't believe that.
What's gas in there, the heaters?
pool heaters.
Your furnace in the Voight Center, or is that?
No, that's,
Hey,
No,
with
yes, there is a
with-
furnace, yeah.
with regards
Pool heaters
to
in the furnace.
Pool heaters, now they got used earlier this year for the swim team?
we didn't, I used them a little bit for the swim team. I didn't use them until like March, and I just fired up just so I could start learning how to use them.
So you don't really have have a good grasp on what it's gonna
No,
cost
sir,
to run
not
this thing?
any idea.
Okay.
We didn't
The
hardly.
gentleman with CPS asked me, why didn't we consider having solar, interconnection agreement with CPS and having solar panels installed on the roof of the Voight Center? And, yeah, and I didn't have an answer for that, and I'm not against opening the dialogue, with them. I had thought that the internet connection agreements were typically with residents and with residential home customers, but if they are doing them with commercial entities and we're a viable prospect for it, I'd love to do it. I have that at my home, and it's been a good arrangement for us. And it'll pay for itself much quicker, because then if it's a part of the interconnection agreement, then they will pay for half of the cost of the system itself upfront to the supplier, and then the supplier has to guarantee 85% efficiency, the life of those panels, or they have to replace the panels as part of the warranty. And so I don't know if the tax credit will apply
I don't
on the
have any
commercial,
information
but
on that.
might be worth looking at. And if you want, I can find out.
How were the heaters working? They work all right?
No, they work great. They work fantastic.
How long does it take to heat that?
It takes a couple days to get it up, but start noticing a difference probably within the first hour. I mean, you're talking about, I think we calculated it 1.2 million gallons of water or something like that. But I mean, we loaded them up. We got them fired up, and probably within an hour, the temperature came up like, yes, sir. There's 4 of them. The temperature came up probably 2 degrees in the first hour. But whenever the temperature of the water's down to 45 degrees and you got to get it up to 78 to swim in, it takes a
So
little
when
bit
you
of
do
time.
north side, when they come over, you figured out how to calculate all that?
Northeast?
Northeast, I'm sorry, northeast.
There's really no way to calculate how the heaters are going to run. I have checked every person I can think of.
With the covers on too at night, it's gonna help.
The covers will help immensely.
Yeah.
But there's so many variables: wind, ambient temperature, sun, rain. Everything affects how the heaters work. There's just no way to get even a wild guess.
Are the covers already in yet or not?
No, y'all haven't approved them.
We haven't approved anything. We haven't got the information
No,
yet.
we're still working on all that.
Will
Okay.
that be in the next meeting? I think I heard you say that.
Yes, it will be. I'll have all that stuff in the next meeting.
Because
Hopefully.
Kevin, every time he sees me,
I've talked to Kevin all the time.
I'm like,
I'm dodging them too.
All right, repair, maintenance, external.
Yeah.
Once again, this goes back to the maintenance costs. I mean, we got irrigation system out there, I got a septic system out there. Maintenance, I've got to start building some maintenance in there.
Northeast.
Pest control, I killed 14 black widows over there in the last week. So, last
You
thing
mean
we,
tarantulas?
No, black widows.
black widow spiders. Black widows, that big, black, red diamond on their belly.
Hourglass.
Seen one of
Oh,
those.
yeah, there's black widows, white widows, and brown
I'd like
widows.
for you to bring one over one day.
Okay,
I
no
mean,
problem.
I see tarantulas
I've
all
seen
the time,
tarantulas,
but
yeah.
I've
Yeah,
never
there's
seen
tarantulas.
those.
They're all over the place.
I leave the tarantulas alone, I love them.
Wow, really?
Let's just leave this for the next meeting then. At this point, let's finish this part up and then
Now,
down to the.
we were able to save some money on the pool management.
That's
Actually,
because of the extra, the year we locked
well,
in
not
for-
just that, putting out for bid and me pushing the bids like I was able to get a lower bid in.
I thought it was a higher bid than last year.
Last year it was 79,000. This year it's 70,000.
But what about the 12? Is that,
The 12 is if we decide to go with winter. This is going to be an additional for winter service.
how did we go lower? Because I thought we took on an additional lifeguard?
No, I also thought that we locked up for, what, was it?
3 years.
3 years, the
Yes,
contract?
sir.
Okay. And so
And
that
that
gave
gave
us
us
a discount.
that gave us a discount.
Is that what the difference is?
No, actually, even with the even without the discount, we would have been a little bit lower.
And why is that? Because
Just because we pushed it out for bid and then they had to compete against each other.
Okay.
So it had increased.
You're talking about the winter pool service, you're
And
saying
we're
you
just
have to get a
we're
new-
talking pool management only. Winter pool service is strictly if y'all decide that we're going to do northeast and we're going to do winter. That's the additional cost it's going to cost for maintenance for the pool.
Okay, but we won't need a lifeguard or anything.
No, that's no lifeguards. That's just maintenance for the pool. Extra
So-
chemicals, extra visits, all that stuff.
So anything that we make from Northeast needs to exceed that, or else it's not worth
Yes,
it to
ma'am,
us.
that is
So it's
correct.
going to exceed that a lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
think what we're getting from Northeast, and don't hold me to this, please don't.
We're gonna hold you to it.
I'm not saying
It
anything.
depends on their schedule, because it's $8 a lane per lane.
I think it was somewhere around $50,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, really?
But,
But it
with
depends on
that,
your
you've
schedule.
got
Yeah.
additional.
I've got the schedule, I've got
okay.
all that.
Electrical or additional heat.
Right, yeah.
Additional wear and tear on the equipment, chemicals.
Right.
The winter pool service, and then whatever the cover and all this other stuff that that's stuff we're gonna really have to look at. Because if it's a break-even deal, for me, it's not a deal for me at all.
Yeah.
The other thing too is, with the pool and the opportunity to have people swim before they go to work in the morning, okay, do their laps. We have the capability of not having to have a lifeguard there for someone who wants to do laps, or the senior citizen bobbers, I call them, their aerobics, okay.
But do we change the?
There should be a fob or some system that's so they'll be able to
Not
get
that, but no, but would that be included in the current?
No, that's what I'm trying to bring up, because,
Winter pass.
do we do something like this for the residents that want, instead of going over to the natatorium over here, or swimming at the JCC, they can go here. You got quite a few master swimmers in this neighborhood.
And
Okay.
people have asked about it.
And they can just get their laps in and then go to work.
Would that be like an adults only kind of thing?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's something to think about when y'all consider, do we want to bring Northeast in here? Because bringing Northeast in, okay, pool covers 5-10 years.
Right.
You get a long life out of them. So
Depending on what kind you get, yeah.
depending on what kinds you get and how well they're maintained and how well they're stored, how well they're
Right.
handled. I'm going to tell you right now, if you get the little bubble covers and they're not handled right, they'll last a year.
Well, but
You'll
it's got a
replace
warranty though too. So just like they're using it at the JCC.
them. Yes,
all
sir,
under
it does,
warranty.
but it still has to do with the way that they're handled.
Exactly.
So we can't have just anybody go pull the pool covers off. You have to have someone that is trained, that knows how to do it the right way.
Yeah, he was telling me about, make sure you the one that has the edging sewed onto it, because the lifeguards grab it with their hands and then tear it every single time they.
Exactly.
Because I
That's
think
exactly what I'm talking about.
Three-piece cover or something.
Yeah, this would be a three-piece. With the size of our pool, should be a three-piece cover. But that would be something for y'all to be able to think about whenever y'all are talking and visiting about whether y'all want NEISD to come in here. Is don't just think about this little why they're here. Think the big picture.
What are we supposed to do for them when they show up? Hypothetically, they show up, what are we supposed to have raised on? Pull cover off, heaters on?
I'll have the heaters and that's it. They do everything else. They'll put the pull covers off. They'll put the pull covers back on. They'll put the lane lines in. They do everything.
Put everything back where they found it.
Because going forward, if we're comfortable with where we are at this point tonight, next week we're gonna try to wrap our hands around the overall budget, looking at the other sources of revenue, other things we wanna invest in. We'll look at the tax rate and see how it applies. We'll have an agenda that'll match all this. And then if we have questions, we'll confirm that the truck is paid for.
Said it was.
You're gonna hold him to it, right?
And then we can I think we can get all this done. Johnny's out the rest of the week after Wednesday, so the only other opportunity for to squeeze in an extra meeting might be next Tuesday. I'd like to try.
Don't we have one Monday night?
We do.
We do.
That's the scheduled one, yeah. So our goal is to try to conclude all this. If you'd like, I'll see what I can find out besides the EDC. If CPS has any interest, if I can make any progress with the VIA, and I appreciate everyone's attention and time and interest in the project tonight. Anybody have any questions or thoughts or anything?
Is Encode working or?
Yeah.
I can't get in.
We were struggling, in fact, it was really, that's why some of the answers were so late, because we were really
Slow this morning.
Yeah.
I'll try again tomorrow. I don't need anything right now. I'll try tomorrow. See if I can get in.
Thank all of y'all for your hard work.
Very productive, very
9:10, officially end our meeting. Children, back. Thank you all for coming.
What is Devils on Horseback? What is that? What is Devils on Horseback?